No,
You know what I mean? I'm always happy.
uh, yeah. There's a bit. It's just like it's a little. There's a little incongruency because like I don't know. Like yeah, we're
Mm.
speaking English. We are for sure, and then we're also speaking some technical stuff, and then I'm just like struggling in like I guess processing. Like I have to close my eyes and concentrate when you start talking shit. So maybe you have to do that to me. I hope not.
No, no,
In
no,
any
no, no,
case,
no, no. What I try to do is I try to basically like, sort of when I talk to someone in terms of like when it comes to technical stuff. Okay, one of the things we learn is how to speak to stakeholders. Okay, what I mean is when you talk to big boys, you know what I mean. As soon as you use a simplest or single technical word, they just go, they just lose interest. Okay, you have to keep them engaged. So yeah, there are times I can speak that language and I can go completely, jargonless, plain English, using, examples or whatnot. Okay, but when I'm speaking to someone, I'm not in a meeting or there's no stakeholder meetings, if that makes sense, and like the conversation I have with you right now. Okay? When as an example, when you tell me you're using Python and using multiple versions, I think you know the basics. You got far enough to understand different versions, different concepts, have different meanings. Does that make sense? Then I can say, okay, then I can kind of increase my verbosity.
I dig it. I get what you're saying.
That's the whole idea behind it. But again, if you don't know, just ask. If you're not sure, if you don't understand, I'm more than happy to explain further. No issues. I told you always to say, listen, even in a PMs to say, if I'm happy if you've got questions, if I will help as much as I can.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I started looking into this with the OpenClaw thing.
Mhm.
I'm glad I didn't go that way, but I didn't exactly understand what made it different using essentially like a CLI or a command line interface. My command line interface is cool. It does a lot of PyMono. It's really nice. Uh, it works certain ways, like in the way that it reads text, in the way that it scans for things, or the way that it like categorizes an entry into a database. And these are some things I'm figuring out now. I figured out how to do like a direct injection into the SQL table, so I no longer have to, or I'm no longer required to like have a long conversation with the LLM in order to get it to understand something. Like that's not necessary. I can just direct inject a big like a big text file, and it'll just read that and be like, oh, this is awesome. This makes perfect sense. So,
Since CLI is very powerful, that's the whole idea.
but like the CLI is not as much as what OpenClaw is. OpenClaw is also like a daemon that's running in the background on the computer 24. So then building, so I'm like, oh, I need to build that out actually. So I built that, or am building that system. So I'm like, feels like I'm working on like 7 different systems at the same time. And then really just to test it out, I'm doing development on some creative ideas. Be like, I'm trying not to motivate through because it's really like a reward thing. Like you just want to have fun with it. I'm trying to fight that urge and just like do the foundational stuff where I really take all the creative aspects for a spin. I know it'll be better like if I shore up the foundations of this better now. So if I want to be using this system for like the next 5 years or something, it makes sense to kind of build out this way. And maybe that's my use case scenario. That's kind of I see it like in a longer stretch than maybe other people do because some people will like just spin up a personal assistant on a cloud and just delete it. Like it doesn't, it's just used to check a certain thing. It's going on Instagram. It's doing this and that. But I'm trying to build like a hub for like I guess all my creative activities, based in this thing. So it has to understand how weird I am, and that's difficult to like explain to a robot. Um, so being able to do the direct SQL injections, like I'm able to, I don't have to explain my operations, what I do, or anything like that. I can just say like, okay, I need you to know this right now, and part of that's been good so far. I haven't like crashed it or anything.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
And the editing is so fast, bro. Like just to like search the memory table, type in any word, and it just like returns all the results that are in there in like a blink because it's already all sort of live memory. It doesn't have to pull it and search it because it's already in like a vector space or something like that. It's bam, 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 and that's pretty good. So that allows me to sort of scrub out certain. We had like certain boot loop actions that happened in the beginning, where in the memory table it wrote the same fact like a zillion times, and then it was trying to figure out why I was like trying to feed this information to someone. It's like I guess this guy really likes Snickers bars a lot. He's just like mentioning it every time, but I only mentioned it one time. All the other successive boot loops start to crowd up the. I don't know. They like weeds or something like that start to develop in the AI. You got to garden that shit. So that means like that stuff's probably happening on a daily basis still. And yeah, I need to like have like some kind of automatic scrubbing searching feature that can like deduplicate all the stuff and that. So and I already had like a memory compaction uh thing figured out that worked well, but I don't even know if that's good enough. Like to yeah. Anyway, it just becomes like a total head fuck developing this stuff. Sorry, I'm sorry for sharing. My bad.
That's fine.
I think getting like probably committing some time to getting the API system working would be nice. I've seen people with like some really slick setups. It's like auto routing, like all these things. They're auto fallbacks, and if you're doing that kind of stuff, you can run like basically a bunch of different current bots. Which I don't know, like that might. I've had a lot of success with the way that I'm doing it. I think other people try and multiplex like all the like a complex task. They'll break it up into like 10 agents and be like, okay, you do this part, you do this part, but they're somehow they don't confer back to each other, and then the whole thing loses like coherency. So there's some kind of secret sauce to getting them to coordinate well. If you have a bunch of different independent, non-memory anchored robots, so that's why like in using this system, I can basically take the same memory system and then make 10 of them, and then they can all write back to the same memory system when things are done. So it's like it's more centralized way. So it's like it's pretty most memory systems aren't. I don't think this flexible. So that's why I like this. But I feel like it's stupid because I'm still relying on the Google Gemini, like as the brain as the real brain behind the thing. It's Google Gemini. Or if I went like and spent some money, it would be like Claude or something, right? I feel like
And you
there's
don't,
something else that's a middle way to do it.
unless you can use anything you want. It doesn't really matter.
But like, what's yeah? It's like I need a pre-routing thing that's like a decent intelligence on my system locally. I don't want to just be. You know what I mean? It feels like there should be some kind of intermediate smartness level that I should be able to have on my system. It can't even say hi back to me if it's not connected to a freaking API key. Like I don't like that one bit.
You can have use. Do you not use Olama? You're not using Olama as an example.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could make it so that it was just by default always going to use like an Olama instance, but then I'd have to always be hosting that. Um, and Olama is a little bit, I don't know, like I'm not 100% loving Olama. It's a little squiggly.
It works fine.
It works fine. I think it's a little squiggly. I think GPT-5 lies a lot, but it's locked. It does a good job. It
Uh,
might lie, but it does a good job. And
no, but what the
Claude
Olama
might not lie. What's
you
that?
have a combination of different engines then. I mean, you don't have to rely on one. You can have multiple LLMs. Want to? You got that option.
You do, but each one will make preferences on development in its own ways. So it's like using a different programmer for,
Mm.
do you know what I mean? Like for the same job almost.
You can again, like I said, it really depends. You can use Olama and you can use then DeepSeek if you want to. Yes, I know something like GPT is more optimized, but again, no. I'm using it for my day-to-day stuff. I have my own instance of Olama at home. I got a home lab, whatever you call it, home lab, a bunch of machines. And for me, it's sufficient. I don't really have to use anything else.
Cool.
Local coding, whatever, it's just more than enough, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd like to create something like a custom, like a small language model, just to run, just have mundane shit, and then have the identifier in it to be able to be like, this is not some mundane shit. Let's pipe this to the real, the big boys in the LLMs and kind of thing. So maybe I'll work on that a little bit. I had that almost working.
I was gonna say you can use Olama for that one too. Yeah, Olama
Yeah.
allows you to train your own data if you want to. You got. Like I said, it's a cool package. What it does is amazing. A little package. It does quite a bit.
Yeah, it runs pretty. It's pretty light. So that's nice. I just want to.
Llama itself, yeah, Llama itself is pretty light. But the good thing is you can tweak it quite a bit, so you can make it faster if you want to. Remember, all it does is just serves a bunch of LLMs, allows you to run LLMs inside of it. It in itself, it's open source. It's nothing. When I say nothing special, there's a lot of specialty. As in, in its significance, it just allows you to run multiple LLMs. That's it. Very much, very much.
Yeah. Well,
It's what you plug into it makes a difference, really.
that's what I'm saying. I could use like an Olama LLM, not just the basically what is like a command line interface for. Yeah. I can load a whole bunch of. I can use Llama. I can use any of the Google stuff, any of the Google packages,
Mhm.
Claude, or yeah, I could use whatever I want as far as that. Some of this is like trying to see what can get done on really basic hardware with like cloud tokens. I think I wanted to just test to see if like this system could run um, on those basic like really lean resources
Mhm.
first. A lot of people are rushing to like big, heavy, expensive solutions to make their assistants run and do functions.
I'm
Like
using Jetson Nano.
that's you're right. That's a lot. Like I don't. But that's
It's
probably a
it's two
middle
hundred
road.
dollars. It's $200,
Yeah,
and you
that's
can
not much.
run. Yeah, no, exactly, and you can run it like an 8 billion parameter, like Lava on it. No dramas, no sweat. It hardly. It would use, I don't know, like last time I tried to push it, it was like using 20% of its resources on this tiny little thing. Its overhead was like 10-15%. It was insane with the 8 billion parameter. And I was getting like what 30 tokens a second or something like that, 15 20 tokens a second. I can't remember the exact numbers. Just an is at $200. It's not that expensive, and it's not complicated to set up either. It's very simple.
So use that for local inference. That's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what you do. All I have is that one. Then I have, my home setup is a bit too much, but all I have is that, and I use OpenWeb UI, and then I have a bunch of other things that I wrote myself, and that's it. That's literally it.
I just mean like people rush and get like the DGX Spark platform stuff, like all that NVIDIA platform. It's very cool. It's very hot also.
Basically,
I don't
what
know.
taking
I
this.
just I guess the coolest part about it is that it's so fast that you can just like drop documents in there and tell it to like I don't know, I guess like auto rag those documents. So like if you're somebody that's been using like GPT, you got like a zillion different like conversations. That's like a pretty cool solution, to kind of like unifying that library of stuff.
Hmm. Put some stuff like, the multiple I put in the chat. Have a look. Thank you. Have a look. What I put. So you don't have to invest heavily. That's a mistake a lot of people make. They're scared, like, I don't know, AI will steal the data, whatever. You don't have to use AI, like public AIs. If you don't trust, it's like ChatGPT, whatever. Leave you.
32 tops isn't bad. Um,
Right? That's what I'm saying. And this is one random one. Have a look at the actual Jetson Nano itself. Jetson Nano NVIDIA. And the one
I mean,
from.
that's it's not that far. It's not that much off than like what I guess like a Raspberry Pi compute module like can get, or I don't know. Like there's add-ons that get you around that 40 tops. One of the let me drop this. This
Have a look at this
thing.
one. This
Really,
is
this is
what I'm using, sort of what I'm using. But this is, have a look at this one I sent you to.
yeah, nice. Check this. This is what I was looking at getting into because this they've got a couple different products. The one I was looking at is like a stick. It runs on like an M.2.5 like E or something like that. It's like a little, it's a teeny little thing.
Mm.
and it runs like three. It can run up to three different Docker containers, basically.
Hey.
Uh,
Oh,
and for certain things, it can perform like on par with like a 4090 for visual reference, face identification, object identification. I think it can read license plates and that kind of thing. So, but that can just run dedicated if you wanted to have like a whole like camera system or a
What
camera
is it?
analysis system. That's like I think 189.
So,
But it's different. I wouldn't think that you could like load an LLM in there per se, but
because
maybe you could.
what I sent you, you can do all sorts of things. Like you can run as an example, full on Home Assistant on it. You can run LLM on it. You can do if you got I don't know if you've seen the project RU View where you can watch people in other rooms using Wi-Fi. When I said watches, and you can scan other people using Wi-Fi sensors in other
Are
rooms.
you're checking that out? I haven't hooked that up.
I have it. I
Yet.
have it. It's insane. It's insane.
I know it is. I know it is. I can't. Yeah, I'm just like, man, let me get my shit like straight. Just the basics. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even
Yeah.
have my security like tight.
I have my secure. My home is pretty secure. I don't. I have multiple VLANs. When I say VLAN, it's how you isolate your network. Okay. I have my what do you call it? Smart stuff on one specific network. There's a segregation. They don't sit in the same network together. So in case someone hack into my what stuff, I don't care. My data itself is secure.
It's illusion of it. Like a puppeteer like pulling strings together. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I'm sorry. I was like talking to the computer where the sound's coming out. That's not where I talking to. Talking to the microphone part. My bad. Yeah, just trying to get all this stuff together. It's like a bunch of like widgets and connectors and things like that that really create the illusion of something that's working smoothly. Yeah, just trying to figure out what the heck that's supposed to be. I think a
Check
Jetson
check
Nano would be really
check this
helpful.
out.
I basically, if I would do something like that, like offload task to an LLM locally, I hit the tail scale, and then that takes me to the M4 where I'm just running like a LLM Studio. So just that's got some kind of like weak LLM hosted in there. Um, yeah.
No, no, this is like I
If
said.
that was like a, go ahead,
This
sorry.
is something you can run locally, and this is very secure. You can isolate it, you can sandbox it, so it means it's sandboxed. There's no way you can escape. Um, basically, it's on your whatever. And then, the data is not going out. And same with me. I know there's no outbound connection. I'm safe there. Even if it wants to, I have different layers of protection on my network. Oh, so no, I don't think you will regret it. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with it.
I started yesterday while I was waiting for this all these compiles and things to happen. I was just like, I was on the Abacus, and I was like, working on these grouping systems, and then it very much relates to like, where it's very much like an RPG also. So I was like, just let's try to make this as if it were the RPG, version of all these like real data systems and things I've got going on here. I think I'm just doodling really. There's no real purpose. I mean, unless I like magically make a RPG of this, I'm just like looking at like what the complexity level is. And man, it's like very different. Like all the hit calculations and stuff like that. They are some incredible. Like you would think that they were physics equations. Looking at them, I can't understand what like the formula that it wrote in scientific notation. Crazy. But uh, but yeah, all the subsystems, all the story, all the progressions, all the there's quite a bit to it. I didn't even understand it for game design. So just for that, it was fun to see how it would walk it through.
Let's just say
And then I
what
wonder like,
my
so I've got
world.
like this immense amount of data now, and I'm like, how do I even make this into a game? I have to have like the AI look at all this shit and then organize it. Like that's going to be a miracle if that works, huh? But that would be a huge leap forward if I can just like sketch out a video game like in an LLM. That's not even my core system, and then take those instructions and feed them to my bot. And if we can just get that pipeline where it can turn that into something usable pretty quickly, that would be an awesome power up. But then I think I need to probably use something like uh, VS Code or something with Copilot if all that code is going to be available. Like it really should have the right framework to work on that stuff. And like an LLM is not the right way to be working on a huge code base. I don't think. What do you think?
Listen, that's the thing. I've seen people try to create games using Claude and whatnot, so it's not uncommon. Okay, you can try. Nothing stopping you to try. And you've done quite a bit. If I were you, I would try.
Yeah, I just mean like we're going to use the LLM anyway, but like doing it in the CLI, it seems like it'd be better to do it within like um like a code editor specifically, so that it could like and to give it control over that whole API, so that it could like really work work the code, have all the code tools that it might want to do things, and you could use like Copilot with that. So I could pipe in like an instance of like a Claude LLM into that. So I think that's the route, for the most control and performance and shit. But I could just take a stab and see if it'll be able to like use a Google Gemini and figure it out.
I think I can give you an example. I wrote Sudoku in C some time ago as just a proof of concept, but just writing in C. So wrote it, finished, done, and after that, I get GPT to write it for me. It was interesting. He ended up writing the entire game. I know Sudoku is nothing to compare, but still the logic is there and whatnot, and he wrote a decent code using C. So it was a full-on game, playable.
That's cool.
Yeah. Had save function, had the whole entire like a algorithm detection. You kind of have numbers. So all the things. If you put the wrong number, you have the option of easy and master. Master is you can put a number anywhere, but as soon as you finish the game, you just realize, shit, I'm done. Or easy would be track. Also, we score. Everything. We spent quite a bit of time to finish it. Once it's done, and tried using GPT. It took a while to get it to understand some of it, but it was done. And this is pre-Claude.
It's really interesting because I don't know. I'm like kind of I love old like video games and stuff, like all the pixel art, all that shit. You can take your polygons and do what you like with. But yeah, I appreciate the classics. And it's weird that even though it seems AI should be able to create really cool pixel art, it's somewhat difficult to make it do so. It would like to not do it because it's pretty intense math, I guess, that's going on, and there's no real. mm, I don't think there's a good solution for like the pipeline. Like, let me take a photo, and then you're going to produce me like a video game sprite. That's a very tall ask. Good morning, everybody. Go ahead, Glow Batman.
That's all right. You know the answer.
Because the Earth's a globe. You fucking stupid flat earthers.
No, because Ruhit's not willing to spend his life savings to actually map the Earth himself.
You are correct. I'm not going to waste money.
It's going to cost you 28 million.
I don't have 28 million US.
Well, then you won't be able to map it then. Australian dollar is not enough.
I don't know. I just would like to see someone who's very like professional at map making and understands all the GPS on like a fully technical level, and but understands the flat Earth position and can kind of like bridge the gap and try to like, you know, try to connect some dots. But I don't know. What's the map maker called?
Cartographer. Or boss.
A cartwheelographer.
You know, you could just invent a game like Pokemon Go and just get the world to map itself for you.
Yeah, but I think the GPS system is in on it, if you know what I mean. So I don't think we'll be able to do it with GPS. We got to do it independently.
Mm. I feel like I feel like they're just manipulating the coordinate system somehow in such a way that it, you know, there's like
Yeah, it's like an adaptable system that adapts to fit it to the model they want while, you know, matching a coordinate system that work with certain distances, especially in like civilian areas.
Mm. Because do you hear about that the Google Map dude? There was one of the Google Map guys started talking about flat Earth and all this stuff, and they fired him. So, but yeah, I think like there has to be I want like a publicly funded Google Maps. That'd be, you know, very interesting. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, what Maddie said, I mean, if you had some way to maybe even not using GPS, but like we used to joke there was a name people made up called back in the day years ago. Like instead of Pokemon, it would be called somebody came up with this name like Curvature Go. Here, I think I have a meme that someone made years ago. Here, let me post it. It's like a little like somebody made this was even before like AI. Let me see if I have it somewhere.
So I don't get it. So what, you download this app and then everyone maps out there.
Here it is.
I don't know how.
It's got the globe in it though. It's got a flat horizon and then a globe. I don't know who made this. Facebook.com, a Terra Plana. Yeah, I don't know who made that. It was on like the 24/7 Flat Earth server. Someone like we were like, oh, it was you know, Jenny. I don't know if she came up with the name, but she was like joking
I only
about it one
know
time.
like two people with Terra Plana handles, and one of them was Robert Pisano, and the other one was like I think like a female
Brazilian.
from.
The Brazilian one was huge, right?
This one says a Terra Plana. A Terra Plana.
BRB.
Yeah, I don't know who made that, but well, there is an idea that you could have an app where people could like put in, you know, measurements, observations, you know, eclipse observations, refractive conditions. I mean, this is actually still a good idea what I'm saying now, but basically an app that people could upload, you know, their observations of Earth. I mean, even if people are doing theodolite measurements or sextant measurements or angles to stars or distances, like just everything could be potentially uploaded. So like, yeah, it'd be awesome if people really did it, you know, but like basically like any measurement you take, you could upload it, but there would have to also be some kind of AI or some kind of way to like collate all the information and somehow validate it. You know, like I know there's like peer review kind of idea, but you know, because if people are putting in wrong info, I mean, there's already like that, like Waze, like that mapping thing where you could, you know, put in like, oh, there's a pothole here and it'll like register it. But yeah, if you could do it for like experiments, measurements and tests, I mean, there would have to be quite a process of like vetting it, but it could be a cool way to do it where you could get a lot of data and then try to put it all together.
Yeah, true. What do you call
Like
it?
if,
Like a
if there was
hub.
one of those like hourglass suns, or the suns that look like an atomic bomb, like if somebody saw that, they could like record it, upload it, and say I saw it from this area, and then if you match that with like temperature and weather data, it all could be interesting way to get a lot of data, a lot of information.
Sorry, mapping data.
All kinds of stuff, yeah. Mapping, observations, refractions, sextants, theodolite measurements, attempted making triangles, long
do that.
distance observations, temperature and weather, and barometer readings. Like our own independent data collection type thing that's not like NASA.
Definitely, I think we do definitely need like a central. I don't know. It's kind of sounds bad. Centralized kind of data system or whatever.
Yeah, we need a global system, a centralized global system. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, well, it could be decentralized as well, though. I mean, with blockchain, and it could actually be a decentralized.
Hmm.
I mean, I think that's what we're doing overall. We're transitioning from a centralized globe world into some kind of new decentralized world where there's much more like tolerance for everything from like different ways of life, different thoughts, and then all helping each other more. Whereas the globe thing is like you all have to be one way, follow or get kicked off the island kind of thing with the globe mentality. So I think we're going from that centralized like control system to a decentralized kind of like a new humanity, which is much more like caring of each other and working together than the globe cycle was.
I'm
The
not
globe
so sure
cycle,
about that, dude.
the globe cycle is like uh, isolation and division and survival of the fittest kind of thing, the evolution mindset. You don't agree?
Not really. I mean, we've seen during the pandemic, they had Operation Lockstep. Dude. They had, like all the countries were in lockstep. Australia, the UK, Canada, Asia.
All right, so if there's like a demonic outcome of all this right now, where like quote unquote they win basically, and they take us into like Agenda 2030, New World Order 2.0 after the World War II, New World Order, or we're actually going through like a transformational process where we are moving to a better future, and the powers that be are going to lose their power in the coming like 1 to 2 decades, let's say. Um, do you see it that way, that there's a potential like even like the idea of like, even to use the word awakening, but I mean they call it the Great Awakening and stuff, but like that humanity is actually moving into a new era that's going to like shed itself of these like globalists and all the evil energy, which it does seem like right now they still have a grip, so it might be hard to think of like that actually shifting. But I mean, do you see it as like either the good wins or the evil wins for this next cycle transition, just in a very generalized way?
I see it only getting even more dystopian,
Oh,
more like 1984.
brutal.
Really, with
I'm
AI
not,
and
I'm
with the
not going
technology,
there.
it's just going
I
to
won't
get the
even focus
grips.
on it really, like thinking, because I don't even want that reality. So, but
I don't
yeah,
want it either, but it would take a drastic change from the population to revert. Everybody's accepting of it. I think the Republicans right now are in office, right? And they're promoting like biometric security. Trump's trying to get biometric security in place, biometric identification because of immigration, because of the brown people, right? Build the wall. He's getting them all riled up to accept biometric security, and this whole like internet of things or internet of bodies is coming around the corner. And that's going to help, mitigate illegal immigration. But then when let's say the next president is a Democrat, then what? They're going to use that same technology that Trump was using to mitigate immigration. And the next term, right, whoever is in office, they're going to use it against us, dude. They're going to use it for control.
yeah, but you know how like in a movie where let's say you got like in Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or any of that stuff, like when there's some, like let's say you got like the evil, what is that guy in the Star Wars? He's like the Sith Lord. So you got like the Sith Lord, and they're all evil, and they got their huge like empire, and they have their huge army. And usually at that point in the movie, it's like intense music, and they're all marching, and it's like, oh my god, like these Jedi's are done for. These guys are gonna wreck them. And it seems like the evil has all their shit together. It seems like they're they got all the money and the everything they need, right? But they actually do end up losing. Like the Jedi's win, even though the Jedi's seem like the underdogs, and it's like, oh, there's no way they're gonna defeat this, like, but they do. And I'm just saying, even right up to the point where the whole thing shifts, the evil looks like it's still in control. They look like they're just killing it. They got all the huge ships and battle drones, and like they have everything, it would seem. But then there's always like some serendipitous like shift of energy where the hero or the angels or something happens where the whole thing shifts, and then the evil crumbles. And the evil can crumble quickly. And I'm not saying in like 3 days or anything, maybe like a decade, 5 or 10 years. But I mean, you don't consider that we could actually be going through a transition where we're moving to an actual like upgraded in terms of more positive phase, and that this evil energy in that same way where yeah, it looks like they have all these plans and the AI, and I don't doubt they have all that going, but are they going to get it? You know, are they actually going to accomplish that sort of Agenda 2030 New World Order type of thing, or are they going to fumble it and they're going to lose it?
I do agree that good's going to prevail in the end, no doubt. You know, I firmly believe that. Actually, I know that. Right, but at the same time, I know that love triumphs evil, or love triumphs hate. But at the same time, this is nothing. What we see now, this is nothing, bro. It's only going to get worse before it gets better. And like, you ever heard of the? There's like these oracles from the, like before Christ called the Sobin oracles. You ever heard of that? It talks about the red dragon versus the white dragon, and how there's like this pressure mediation between good and evil, where you'll have like periods of like peace, relative peace on the earth, and people flourish, and nations get to recover from, like, we had the Dark Ages, right? And then right after the Dark Ages, where everything was stagnant and there was no innovation, no progression, just constant warring. Then you had a moment of where people could breathe again, and that's when the Renaissance happened. That's when the Age of Reason happened, and it gave people the opportunity to like advance. But now I feel like we're heading right back into like another war, like another 1,000 years of war.
Um, I don't see that that's what's coming. I mean, I know like in potential it could be there, and I'm not trying to like disagree in a debating way. I'm just kind of like throwing out, and this is like I'm saying it's more of an intuitive thing, I guess, or more of a sort of like beyond my physical ability to know, like of my physical body. But like about the Kali Yuga and that concept, and I mean that's the question. Like, are we going into a dark age, or are we coming out of a dark age?
I think we just had our age of of reason. We had the Renaissance and the Great Awakening.
Or I should say,
Where
are we
science
going into a
progressed.
darker age? I should say, are we going into a darker age, or are we coming out of a dark age?
Well,
Because
think about it, dude. We just had, America just had the best time ever, bro. Like the last, granted, we right after World War I, World War II, we had Vietnam and we had Korea. But other than that, dude, like we've been really, really flourishing in this country, bro. Like we had a golden age. It was the 1960s, dude. People thought they had it bad back then, but no, that was probably the best time America's ever had. 1950s, 1960s.
I mean, I would
70s,
say the
80s.
90s were kind of cooking. The 90s were cooking in a certain way.
60s,
80s.
70s, 80s, 90s, and then the early 2000s, bro. Like it was great, and it's still great, but now we can see the downward turn, dude. Downward spiral.
The 60s was tumultuous, I would say. Like, you had World War II, which was insane, and then the 50s were kind of like more like strict and like not as much drama, and then the 60s were like out of control. It seems like just like unbridled, like volcanic, and then Vietnam and everything else, and just the whole like everything that went on. And then the 70s, there was like more like hard drugs, and that was kind of like a recovery decade, even though it was like yeah. And then the 80s were like sort of this turn, and then the 90s to me were kind of cooking, the whole internet and everything that came together, and then the 2000s were like kind of more of a yeah, just kind of like an in between. Like it was kind of out of that like era of the 90s. But
There's political unrest, no doubt. You had people protesting the wars, but and like you had some civil rights movements. But other than that, dude, America had it great, dude. Like people had houses, people had property, a lot of children, family was important. Like, dude, it was great from what I heard. And even growing up in the 90s, dude, I loved it. I didn't suffer. Now inflation's hitting us, though. Like, but it took 80 years. I don't know. I guess it's subjective, dude. Some people are poor. They probably had it worse off. But I think the average person in America had a good life, dude. And you could pursue happiness in America and succeed. But now it's getting harder and harder to succeed in America. Where once, this was the land that everybody wanted to go to for that reason. Now immigrants get here and they're like, shit, like, what do I do now?
I definitely, because yeah, way back in the day, what used to like burn people and slaves and all. So we're definitely like, it's gotten better. But now I feel like, yeah, we're going to head into a new, not dark age, but this whole control thing, more control. But yeah, I truly believe it's going to get bad. I don't know how bad, but then at the end of the tunnel, it will return to good, because I kind of like, doesn't that what the Bible kind of says? Like,
Yeah, ultimately. But there's a lot of stuff that's supposed to happen before then, right? And sometimes I wonder. I think SE might be right. I hope he's not right. Like I hope our country stays on top, and maybe we Trump initiates a new golden age. I feel like that part of me also sees that being unrealistic, dude.
So I don't think Trump's going to do anything.
Yeah.
I think their whole empire is going to have to crumble. From inside, like to me, it's like a fake empire that they have going. Like they basically just hijacked and somehow took over in a weird way. J.P. Morgan, the Rockefellers, just all this crazy. So like they stole the keys to the kingdom, and then they think they own the place now, but they just don't. So there's like a righteous way in which they just don't own what they took, but they sure got away with it for like decades, at least, like really, like probably 150 years, 200 years, which is pretty crazy. But if it is a cycle, then I mean, you would never been able to have this modern era if it wasn't for these like controllers. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I mean, they're ultimately evil, but there is some kind of interesting and unique aspects. Like from the idea of a creator that is like infinitely powerful and can create anything, I don't have any reason to think that this is the only realm that exists, even though I know that's a topic people talk about. But if this is not the only realm, there could be millions, trillions of these that are all slightly different with different types of beings and different types of land, and or even things that we wouldn't even call land, like whole totally different realities. And if that's the case, then like of all the ones that you could create, this modern one is pretty like dramatic and intense, and like the world wars, but it's also kind of unique and like from an infinitely creative creationary kind of perspective, like okay, like people like homeless in a city, like that seems so brutal, and it is, but like at the same time, if you were an infinite creator that could create anything and you wanted to have that be a thing, well, the modern era is one thing you could have that. And that is like a more challenging thing. Or like car accidents, which I mean that's part of creation too. So like and for whatever reason it like wants all these different experiences. And I'm just saying the modern era kind of does. I mean, those were two like negative things I just mentioned. There's also like, raves or like huge electronic music festivals or movies, like so many things that kind of come from this modern era that are like unique, like the good and the bad, it seems.
Definitely, yeah. If he can create this, yeah, like God knows what else he's created.
Yeah, and if it's just keeping this whole thing going, like every single heart beating, every insect crawling, just seemingly with ease.
We're quarantined from that area, though. We don't have. I mean, in my understanding, there are other realms just like this one, better than this one, with land, with mountains, with rivers, with all that, with animals. But it's quarantined from us. We don't have access to it.
Unless you accelerate the level of DMT in your body, perhaps at a high rate, then we can revisit
You
them.
might be able to sneak in,
Or
but
lucid dreaming.
you don't like it when people sneak in. You get kicked out.
Dude, have you heard that on DMT, people like go like this is an experience. I'm not saying it's like for but there is a type of experience where people are on a very high dose of DMT and they're like entering into another dimension or they're in another dimension. And in some cases, the beings there like sort of like deny access at some point or something happens to where they kind of like, yeah, they kind of like kick you out in a way. And that,
Yes.
and then
They
but
deny access.
what's claimed is that when you get kicked out, as it were, or like when you get denied access, even though you have a very high amount of DMT in your system, people have been seen to just completely sober up, just 100% sober within seconds, even though they should still be on the DMT. Isn't that a wild testimonial?
I believe it. I believe it. It's the only way you can access it is through the the astral projection. You could be able to access it by flesh and blood if he allowed it, but he's barred us from those areas of existence because he's trying to keep it pure, and our realm's corrupted. Our realm's fallen. We're fallen creatures, so we don't. There's no what's it called? What communion does righteousness have with evil? Even though we're capable of good and righteousness, we're mixed, right?
Well, these other
We're not all
dimensions are
good.
not always evil, though, and the other beings are not always evil. But yeah,
That's what I'm saying. In those realms that you're talking about, they're all pure. All the beings there are pure, unlike us.
Well, what about? Do you think there's other realms that are like worse than this one, like 1984?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you got realms that are like, you don't even want to think about those realms.
Yeah, I've actually had dreams in other dimensions, and some that were, yeah, like very dystopian. In some, but yeah, I think there's all of the above. This realm's like in the middle. It seems like there's some darkness. Yeah. It goes pretty dark here, though. You can get to the really dark stuff, like like wars or like just rape or like there's some stuff that's pretty dark. But this realm also seems to have quite a bit of positive. I don't know if it's like 50-50, 60-40, kind of hard to say. Seems like overall there's a lot of pain and suffering, disease and stuff, but I mean, doesn't it kind of seem like the main bulk of humanity are kind of fairly happy overall? That's kind of tough to say though, because I guess it depends on like in other countries.
It's not, the Earth isn't that bad, dude. Like, there's a lot of good land out there. It's just mainly the cities and like pollution in certain places.
I mean, we're kind of free, dude. Like, if you have like $10 million, you can just go buy houses and cars and just whatever you want and do, within range. I mean, dude, we're even so free that with millions of dollars, we can do all the tests we need to do for the Earth and potentially not even ever get like taken out, by like the powers that be. I know that someone might have concern of that, but I'm just saying, like, we do have the law. I think spirituality is linked with the law. Like, we're so free that we're told we live on a globe and all this, but with our own funding and millions of dollars, we could actually just probably just do all the tests we need to do, submit it all to the scientific community, and have the whole paradigm shift with the truth. Now, I know some people might think, oh, that's too unlikely to happen, or they'll take you out or something, but I'm just saying, like, it's not necessarily that they would. I mean, they would have to break the law to take you out, if you're doing something legal. Now, I know some things might be pushing the boundary, though. Like, if you just tried to, like, build an army and take over like that, you can't, violence, that's not like, necessarily a way to go or anything. But, I know there might be, or if you went too fast and too crazy, like, you might not want to put billboards like all over the world, like tomorrow, to make too much of a hoopla about it all. And also, like, yeah, just with all the censorship that they do. So you could do it. You'd have to be smart. But I'm just saying, like, my point is, like, we're so free that somebody can independently, like, for example, could you, with millions of dollars, could you make a rocket company? Like, be like, hey, we're going to be like SpaceX. We're just going to make a rocket company and we're going to see if we can go to space and publish, live stream all of it and show what happens and that you can't get to space, for example. Like, are we that free that we could actually show these huge lies to be wrong and they wouldn't even take us out?
I don't know, man. I mean, people send high altitude balloons all the time. But take a rocket out there. That one dude tried it. He died. I don't know if it was human error
Maniac.
or they shot him down.
I'm sorry, this is the dude that had like put himself in a rocket and it failed and fell down. Yeah.
Allegedly.
That was all a weird story. He wasn't even a flat earther, but he like got this like funding from like some flat earth people, and he put like a sticker on the side of his rocket thing. I don't know what that was all about. Like, I still have kind of questions about that whole thing. Mad Mike Hughes. It was weird.
Yeah.
It didn't even make sense what he was doing because the altitude he was going wouldn't even prove anything. So it was all very strange.
Whether that wasn't one of us.
Dude could have been an actor. I don't even know. It was weird. It got a lot of publicity, and they're like, flat earther trying to prove, like, all the mockery and like trying to prove Earth is flat. That's like a weird. I mean, he could have just been a quirky guy, but
yeah. Imagine it was Rakia or somebody tried doing that, dude. God forbid, but if one of us tried doing that and died, dude, it'd be all over the news.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my point was more just with the, like, how much freedom do we have, or like how bad is it, like in the light of that. And I was just saying that we are pretty free in a lot of ways, and we do have the law. So, like, for example, if you wanted to spend millions of dollars to make like a rocket company and be like, hey, let's go to space, could you even get the permits and all that? Or yeah, there's the fear, like, would like the powers that be like take you out because they're like, oh no, these guys are gonna like build a rocket and show that you can't go to space. But I'm also saying that there's also we do have like I said, we have the law. It's not just completely lawless, and it's not illegal to do that, any of this stuff, So it's not really, whether it's like we're free. It's like the powers that be just don't have full control. It's either, they might want it. So it's not that we're really like granted freedom. It might just be that they can't really get the like 1984 level of control, which is probably what they're headed towards. And the globe is like one of their main vehicles to do it.
Fascinating.
You're supporting world domination, Ruhif, of the evil ones. Are you sure you wanted to keep doing this?
Right. Yeah.
You're doing the devil's bidding. Like, come on, our ancestors were right about the Earth. They're not all wrong, and a bunch of Jesuit Freemason secret societies who came up with this hermetic black magic globe thing. Really.
Yeah, Ruif. I got your message, bro. I'm at work. I'm gonna get you that source as soon as possible. I'm not lying. I'm not bullshitting you. I heard you earlier. I couldn't open up the mics.
I'm not necessarily.
I brought it up before. I posted it before, and you guys just don't like it.
Well,
because it's a couple hundred years old.
Okay, there will be something wrong with it, because I know that if I'm at 150 feet, I know what the angle down to the horizon will be.
The only rebuttal you guys have is that it's a couple hundred years old. That's the last time I brought it up. So it's outdated.
I found one that it could be last night, but it wasn't really.
You see, I'll give you one with the balloon. Mr. Glacier's report.
Oh,
during
yeah,
the important during the important balloon ascension recently made for scientific purposes by Mr. Coxwell and Mr. Glacier of the Royal Observatory,
37, something like that. 1837.
Greenwich, the same phenomenon was observed. The horizon always appeared on a level with the cart.
Yeah. What measuring
October
tool do they use?
1862.
Oh,
They used a theodolite and the scope that I told you about.
How do you get a theodolite to work on a balloon?
They waited for the air to be still, and I don't know, dude. I have no idea, dude, but they got it to work.
Yeah. Okay, I've read that before. I can dig that up again.
And there's more. It's not just the same people. The same people. They tried it at different surveyors. They tried it at, like I said, 6 inches above the water, 25 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet, 150 feet in a tower.
Yep.
Same observations.
I'm only interested in the 100 and 150 feet.
Yeah, I got that too.
6 inches above the water. Yeah, 6 inches is meaningless.
I think you let me know. I'm not making it up, dude. It's in the literature.
Well, okay, I'll eagerly await. Yeah, but yeah, I have read the balloon guy before.
Hey, Rakia just typed something in chat, and dude, Rakia, if you're there, I don't know, but and Ruhif, I was talking to Shoebill earlier, and we were talking about surveying. You know how like plane surveying is done within a 100 square mile section, which could be 10 by 10 miles if you made a square, and within 10 mile stretch, you got 66 feet of drop. Now, Shoebill was saying that within 10 miles, he could get it accurate within, I forget what he was saying. I think he was saying like a foot at one point, or even like, I forget the exact number he said, but it was quite small, like a foot. Yeah.
Real quick, dude, let me get this up because I got to go to work, dude. I had to go. So I found it. It says here, I say surveyor Mr. Henry Leon of Buffalo procured permission of the city offices or those in charge of the city hall to ascend to the roof, the hall being one of the highest buildings in Buffalo, the top, which is over 150 feet above the level of the Lake Erie at the mouth of the Niagara River, and affording a fine view of the city and of Lake Erie to the utmost extent of the vision. Here upon the roof, it being a flat roof or nearly so, I placed and adjusted the instrument and swung it to the sea and observed a space about 1/8 of an inch between the horizontal line of the instrument and the horizon proper as shown. I next swung the line of sight to the Canada shore and found the line cut the tops of some of the very highest trees, knowing that the Canada shore at the point to which I directed the leveling instrument was fully equal, if not higher than the ground at which the city hall stood. I felt pretty sure that the instrument was in good adjustment because I was looking across. Oh man, it cuts off right there.
Yeah, stick a link in, I'll read it.
Didn't Shoebill say an inch over that distance?
For the full 10 miles, we talked about a few different things. But if Lion wants to finish, I'll wait.
No, it's fine. I got to go, dude. I'm looking through my gallery, but I'm going to have to pull it up after. Go ahead. Because it cuts off right there. The screenshot cuts off right there. I thought the next one would follow it.
Just stick the screenshot in and I'll find it somewhere, right?
How accurate is the horizontal line over that 10 miles that you've taken angle measurement with?
Your audio is rubbish, Rakia.
Yeah, I only caught him when he said something about an inch.
All right, I'll get back on the stream and see what Lion said.
I mean, it's cut off. You're not going to get the whole thing. But here, I'll post it.
My question was, how accurate is your horizontal line over that 10 miles to take the angle measurement? How much tool error, human error, refraction was calculated in to get that 1 foot difference? And how accurate was the horizontal line, and how do you know?
Yeah, well, the question with the thing I was talking about is if you have like a 10 by 10 mile square and you wanted to make like a solar panel farm or something, and you wanted to build the flattest foundation that you possibly could for this 10 by 10 mile, or, reservoir or a body of water, whatever, but it's 10 by 10 miles. And how, flat and straight can you make a reference at the end of 10 miles from the beginning? And of course the globe would have 66 feet of curvature. So, and they claim this is the range within for plane surveying, which doesn't incorporate any curvature and is all just XYZ parallels, verticals, etc., horizontal, without any incorporation for curve. Because if you were gonna make it fit a curved Earth, you would have to, like Matthew was saying, like, okay, every 2 miles, because this is just like 2 inches over a half a mile, which is what the globe curvature is. So like Matthew was trying to say, oh, well, if you hired surveyors to do it and they said that they might be off by 2 inches every half mile, sure, they would just have a little air there and they would make like a disco ball kind of thing. Problem with that is that they would have to consciously make it 2 inches, every half mile. They would have to actually consciously change it by 2 inches if they were going to follow the curve. Otherwise, it would have to be in their margin of error. And you can be more accurate in a half mile than 2 inches is the claim. So by many.
Oh, it's from Gleason's book. Nice. Does anyone have a PDF of Gleason's book?
I do, but I can't do it right now, bro. It's easy. Just type it in on Google. It should be on archive.org.
I'm getting it.
So yeah, that whole chapter, those few chapters they go through a bunch of different experiments. Well, he sources different experiments from the Royal Observatory and other surveyors. But people typically, when they disregard the source because it's Alex Gleason and he's a flat earther, so they critique him. They critique the source. But if you just look, it's not just flat earthers. There's literally globers that he's talking about saying that the horizon's at eye level.
Did I just post you the last bit of what you were saying?
So they'll critique the source and they'll critique the date. And it goes back to the 1800s. So I already know that's what you're going to do.
You know where you said it was cut off? Did I just post you the continuation?
Probably, yeah, dude. Can you do that? Because I'm working.
DM'd you.
To the fuck. Just post it in the live stream text one for them.
I don't know which one's which because there was two bits. Is it the small bit or the bigger?
Bro, I don't know, bro. I can't look at it right now.
Oh, sorry.
I'm already behind.
It's a fucking huge PDF.
He told you I wasn't bullshitting though. Yeah, by the way, I'm glad that you're doing better. I heard you talking earlier.
Me?
Yeah,
I've
dude.
been good for like 9 years. Yeah, I had cancer in 2016 and done.
Yeah, but
a stem cell transplant early 2017.
You don't get. You say you're not getting any more injections.
Oh yeah,
You don't have to take any of that crazy drugs you were on.
Yeah, that's just health stuff. Yeah, medication stuff. But yes, thank you, Lion. Oh, downloaded. Very good.
Why'd you get on that stuff that eats away your bones? I forget what it's called.
Steroids, corticosteroids.
No, the other stuff. The modern Ozempic.
Yeah.
Why'd you get on that?
My endocrinologist put me on it. I was on Trulicity, which is a similar drug, but I think you're okay. But Trulicity wasn't working as well, and she put me on Ozempic, and I was on it for about 6-8 months, something like that. Fucking hated it, so I basically begged to get off it, and yeah.
For what though? What was its purpose? To control for what? Your diabetes?
Yeah. Sorry.
Didn't it give you diabetes?
No. So I had leukemia in late 2016, right? And had a few rounds of chemo, and then eventually had a stem cell transplant, right? Where they give me an infusion of my brother's blood cells, right? They wipe mine out. So I have this like ablative chemo, which wipes out my blood system completely. And then I get injected or infused with my brother's blood. My brother's blood then goes into my bones and starts creating blood, right? But there's a big risk that the white cells that my brother gave me start attacking my body, and they usually attack your liver and your skin and that sort of shit. And that's called graft versus host disease. And to stop that from happening, they give you a shitload of high dose corticosteroids, like prednisone is the main one.
Wow.
And those steroids put your blood sugar up ridiculous levels, And that one of the risks of that is diabetes. So, yeah, long story, but that's it.
So sugar does cause diabetes.
Sugar causes diabetes, yes. Yeah. Well, too much sugar causes your cells to resist insulin. That's probably the, yeah.
Well, too much sugar going into your bloodstream, not being used by your cells in a good way, and then your
Yep.
blood doesn't produce the amount of insulin you need to control it as you get older, usually.
Your audio is just rubbish. I've got to go, peeps. I shall read your link line. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah, man. Just when I had him on the ropes.
Ka-ching.
You had to go feed the dogs.
Is my audio better now?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's my Bluetooth to my hearing aids. But did you see what I posted about the switch on the total stations? Refraction and Earth curve is basically the same switch, and they equal out to a great extent. Like Earth curve curves down, and refraction makes things appear higher, so it equals out. It's weird. Never seen that before.
So does that make it that button pointless, really?
No, because they say it's still like a relationship where it doesn't equal out perfectly, so you get a more accurate reading over distance. Like it's only when you're doing distance shots, not local shots.
Yeah.
I just think they use that as, Earth curve, or they know the way light is bending over 10 miles, so they switch it on and take out Earth curve as refraction. But here they're even saying that refraction and Earth curve are in the opposite directions, which it's the first I ever heard of that. Or paid attention to it, maybe.
So yeah, what's going on, guys? Wake up.
What are you up to? You doing things? Driving? Debating?
Yeah.
Questioning?
I just got
researching?
just delivery. I just made a delivery.
Made the drop, and now it's time to talk.
I'm the milkman now.
Yep, that's how it always goes. How much milk are you milking?
I'm delivering milk.
How's it feel?
Great.
Are you like feeling your milkman self? You smiling at people? Like, hey, I'm the milkman. What's going on? Hey, winking at people and shit. Are you doing that? I wonder. Like a lot of winking point. Like, hey, what's going on? Nah, probably not. Knowing you.
No, I don't be linking.
No.
No, I'm just playing, dude. I don't deliver milk. I deliver auto parts. We think this is 1962, bro?
Yeah, you sure don't want to be winking at people delivering auto parts. That I'm sure. You know, bakery shit, those kind of items. Dairy. Yeah, wink at people all you want. Start delivering mufflers and winking at people, they're going to think.
That's
knows
literally
what
what
it
I
is.
just delivered today. Yeah, right now. Just a muffler, big ass one, too. And an engine.
Awesome. That sounds heavy. An engine sounds heavy.
Shit's gay.
What, are they forklifted off there? Or what?
No, I wish. I got a little pallet jack. Thing barely holds the engine up. It tilts to one side. I'm gonna start, yo. I thought about like getting a GoPro, putting it on my head, and just recording like one of my days, bro, and then like clipping it and making like a stream, like fast motion or time lapse.
Can do it.
I'm about to
Can.
do that to get some views.
Did you hear my beats I was broadcasting?
I don't hear nothing right now.
Oh, okay, I was before you, like, there was a whole silence, and then you said something just like,
No, I wasn't. I didn't know you were streaming. I just seen you were streaming, so I clicked on it.
that's cool. I've been through like probably 20 revisions since the last program, so I'm like testing out a whole bunch of new features. Starting to make it sound like garbage though, you know, a little garbage, but
I don't know how people do it. I mean, I never got into it with the like. I downloaded Fruity Loops a long time ago, bro. But I just couldn't figure it out, and I didn't have nobody to teach me, so I just gave up on it. I downloaded Fruity Loops when I was still a teenager.
yeah, this might look a little bit like Fruity Loops to you, what I built, but I like this better.
I see Blob and Wish using Fruity Loops, so
Fruity Loops can do some shit. It can probably do things in weird ways that other things don't.
when
always
I had it
advantages.
originally. Another thing is that like every time I would make a song, it just sounded so gay. It sounded like the beat selection or the instrument selection. It just sounded too like digital or synthetic for me, I guess, at the time. And it kind of, I don't know, it just threw me off. I didn't like it. I didn't like how it sounded.
Yeah, I can imagine that. It takes a lot of clicking around to get to something you don't like.
So you got to just go through thousands of sounds until you like the sound. And then I found out they had packs. You can download like packs. Might cost you $500.
Yeah, must be. Yeah, so like when I could pull up several different types of drum builds, right? That are different types of drum machines, but like one of them, it like auto makes a beat, like with one button press, right? I can edit that out, whatever, click the different things, and that's like nice because I just want to hear like what a drum kit sounds like because I have like, I don't know, probably 50 different drum machine sample packs. You know, like the actual, they're based off the hardware. So like I'm pulling like retro drum machines in one button. I can mix and match from all of the sets. It'll auto pull, like I'm only using 3 drum sounds. So it's just a bass, snare, and a cymbal, or hi-hat actually. So it will only pull hi-hat marked things out of this whole folder set. That's just like a super flex. Yeah, that's
So how do you use that?
insane.
You use AI for that?
I used AI to build the logic of how to do that and just make it easy. So I just hit one button and it does a bunch of shit. Hit another button, more shit. Buttons, man.
Interesting.
I made a bass, you know, got a couple different sounds on that bass. It auto patterns itself based on the root tonic. Then so like the root key of everything, which that can be.
Evil Empire laughing all the way to the bank.
I wish this was like an instant money maker. That would be cool. I guess I could try to. Why? I don't know. Like I'm having fun making the music. Yeah.
Canon, you got to put a sample in there. Not a sample. What's it called?
Yeah.
Like a
I have,
signature.
so I have multiple ways to do sampling too. So I have a step sequencer sampler. I have like a live playable sampler. So I can take vocal chop. I can make shit that sounds like Drake-ish or whatever, like that era, whatever. I have like a lot of the sample packs too, Kendrick style shit or whatever, type beats, if you will. I can just like
I don't
throw them
like
in there.
Kendrick.
I don't either. But the sample pack is a sample pack, you know. Whatever type of sound I want to go like into that palette of stuff, I could do that. I don't have anything that does like this is like a classical symphony pack, you know. I don't have anything like that I made like that but I could, and that's the crazy shit of it, really, you know. Like I could easily sound like a lot of different people, different producers, you know, and switch it up on the fly and mix one thing into the
Metro
next.
booming.
I hit some shit. Like I just threw in like some dubstep, like sample scratch stuff, you know, like a drum pattern, and chopped that up in the sequencer. And now it's in like in Skrillex gear. It's like I just stick shifted, you know, put that in the dubstep gear.
What'd you say?
You know,
What'd you say?
it's like I'm throwing it into a different gear. Like I can take the
You
whole
said Skrillex?
Skrillex, yeah, kind of. I guess.
Skrillex.
In
Who's that? That's an artist, right?
It's like, yeah.
I don't understand because this is one artist that I've been hearing his name forever, but I never bothered to look him up. I still don't know how he looks like. Is that how you say his name?
Skrillix. Is that what you mean? Skrillex?
Is that an actual artist? Wasn't he like? Didn't he do like punk rock though?
Me?
Or was he just like EDM stuff?
I don't know his history, man. I just know like, you know, he has a sound I kind of loosely equate to what that like electro dubstep type glitchy shit is, but like I already like kind of glitch music myself. I like a lot of the foundations of what he's working on, which is like, you know, I guess like in some way taking what a lot of Aphex Twin is and like making it more his, you know, like he's developing off of some other electronic artists, you know, to pull into his own style. Whatever, man. Yeah. Just something.
There's this one song I just discovered the other day, bro. I have it on repeat called Emily.
But I could also like throw like jazz walking bass changes in a sampler too, and match that up to Skrillex, so I could have like a boom 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 boom, but like that whole shit going on. But then it'd be like wow, you know, like all that noisy shit. But it would sync up perfectly, and that's really a shitload of fun, to be honest.
I think that's him, dude. Yeah, dude. He used to make punk rock back in the day before he started doing that techno shit. I think so. Yo, he's got a banger called Emily. Let me see if I can find it. I think this is him. Why she say haters gonna hate? The band's called From First to Last. Yeah, From First to Last.
That's cool.
I'm about to post it.
I just hooked up something like it's like a live phrase sampling. So like as the mix is going on, I can play like a sample of like an organ. I can play different notes in there or hit chords while I'm recording, and it'll just like capture that as like a 64 bar phrase, and then loop it. So like, and then I can shut that on or off. So it's like it's nice to be able to just build like that, you know, or not have to like click a whole bunch of bullshit, right click and create new mini regions and that kind of thing. So just streamlining it for like live performance and just jamming. Sometimes I come up with things like purely by accident, and I'm like, man, this is fun. Like the other crazy shit about it too is like because there's basically each drum machine is like a timer, and each sample has its own stop and start point. I can create all these like little off beats, if you will, and but they're clocked so tight that it all really does make sense mathematically, and it's crazy to listen to after a while because I will just almost get sleepy listening to these loops. You know, they're very almost like auto hypnotic and trance inducing to some
Dude,
degree
I
because
love
there's
that.
so many like I could only imagine like if you had like the ayahuasca DJ for the you know what I mean for this it would be pretty amazing. You know, you wouldn't even you could possibly work this into something where you're using like a combination of like binaural beats and these type of auditory cues that like that will naturally slow your breathing. You'll naturally music is a natural speaker to the system. You know, it naturally talks to our nerves.
Not to be fair though, to be honest, dude, when the other day you were DJing, whatever you were doing, experimenting, I was listening and it made me feel like that. It made me feel like relaxed, hypnotically relaxed, for real.
That's the sine wave tones that are doing that. Yeah, and it's all pretty much I'm using a slow range of tempo. I can crank it out, but most of my jams start at about 86 BPM, which is like a pretty like kind of a slow heartbeat, if you will, right? And so the way that the human physiology, like when we hear like beat, you know what I mean? We're thinking of walking. You know, our nervous system thinks of moving, like 1, 2, 3, 4, in a way. Do do you agree with that or disagree? Maybe it's just like I've read too many books and
No, yeah.
that's
No, there's definitely something to that. Binaural beats. You got
like
Dr. Monroe who studied that stuff, like legit. He's got 2 books on it.
our hearts are in like 4/4 time basically or two. We're in like a duple time, double, right? For two. If we take that, it's compatible over this 4/4 thing. We walk in two, 1 foot after the other, so that fits within a 4 square, right? We start to like think about like other time signatures where it's like 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2. Like I don't know, unless you have a third leg, that would be a strange thing to walk around to. You know what I mean? Like or to go on a march. You know what I mean? You want the emphasis to be like every couple like you know what I mean? Something like that, right? It's like a much more driving type of rhythmic structure. So it's just interesting
Snax.
how like rhythm communicates motion to our feet, if
Put
you
your
will.
hand over your ear and cover it. Then you hear the rhythm of nature in your head.
How about you do
Oh,
that?
I'll hear what.
How about you put your hand over your mouth and cover it? I'm just joking.
Why don't you start talking about it as a mutal plane your feet are standing on and the horizon is part of?
You're just talking about sound, rhythm, music.
You gotta
Yeah,
dig
because what do
down.
you think about the
Well,
what?
the thing is really like when you when you isolate what rhythm is and you compact it, you actually get pure tone again. So there's a transitive like particle or a wave, if you will, about rhythm and tone within sound, right? So if I take any tone, pure tone, slow it down enough, it starts to sound like a beat because it's got uneven pieces. You know what I mean? If I start to bring those things
What
so
about the
far
Schumann
together, they'll
resonance?
start to sound like a tone.
What's it called?
But
The
the
Schumann
Schumann
resonance?
resonance, if it is a resonance, right, it is a tone, but it is also a rhythm as well.
It is three frequencies in one. It's a bass line, one higher and one lower. That's an oscillation.
No comment.
I don't know. You could determine it's an oscillation by inference, but like systemically, we don't really know how it is that the operators actually function, why they function, why there's a resonance,
Yeah.
and what.
But what is sound? It is this disturbance of the medium. It's displacements of stuff.
It's no. Well, first of all, it would mean that there must be like a bound up amount of energy in the system that is being regulated through these patterns. So we must already have some. We have to plug the amplifier into some shit, right? So what is we're plugging it into the wall, right? That's all I mean.
Yeah,
And
but
you
you
need
measure
power to be able
the
to drive.
voltage from the surface to higher up the sky. It only gets higher.
So where is it drawing
So
its
you have
energy
a
from?
chamber.
What else do you know that climbs in power and goes high and higher until the Kármán line and keeps doubling every? Do you know something like this? Static in nature?
No, because nature doesn't do that.
Fuck off! I gave you all the breadcrumbs, and no, like get out of town. I'm gonna get off. I can't even handle that response. All the
You
breadcrumbs.
can
All the
only
fucking
expand the system so much before it pops. That elasticity just goes
What's
so
that?
far before a system implodes.
You're stuck in some kind of like a quantum mishmash of a conceptual abstraction. But what I'm laying out to you is that the voltage per square meter climbing from in the z-axis is creating something like a amount of electricity that a Schumann resonance can ride upon, right? Does that not make sense? And you want to go
It's
right away
creating a
to
Z
not that?
pinch.
Like, geez, I'd be better off just writing this down.
Yeah, but even if you look at sound, it's all waves. It's from a center point going outwards and bouncing back.
So you're denying that it's also rhythm, though, right? A funky rhythm. I got you.
No,
But
I'm
in a
not
rhythm, there's
denying the
things like
rhythm. I
moments,
said
right? But we understand that there's
it has
time,
a
right? We
it has
understand that there's
maximum
time between
expansion
waves,
and compression.
between things that are said, between when one person talks and another, there's space sometimes, and this space could be looked at as a rhythm. Period.
Yeah, but for things to expand and compress, you need space in between.
I want to turn you down now, and so I don't have to listen to you respond in some kind of robotic way to what I was interpreting as where I had an actual participant to have a conversation with. If you want to be on auto repeat, I can just take a sample of it and play it back.
Crizzle, I think it's time we just take a break. I need some space.
You guys don't acknowledge the waviness of the nature itself.
We need some space, Crizzle.
Rhythm, space, in space. We have moments. Yeah. Electromagnetic things are happening in between the space. That's magnetic moments. They're contained within every tone, then. If there is that, we can extract rhythm out of it, that there are gaps between there. They're meaningful structural things part of sound.
Yeah, but without pressure, there is
Yeah,
no
fuck it, say
sound
that.
because there is no
Page four.
displacement.
Cannot hear Crizzle comment over it. Lovely. Isometrically flexing the bicep now to where toning
Just keep
now.
circle jerking around in circles then.
In celebration.
Go
Pressure
ahead.
mediation, displays.
It's like a
Yeah,
computer
but
virus.
without that displacement, you don't even have that voltage. You don't even have that electricity from counter-rotating fields interacting with each other.
What I love is the contrary point, as well as like the you don't understand issue of it too. When I'm like talking about something that subsumes her very like point of preaching to the choir, I guess maybe preach to yourself.
No,
Try
but yeah,
that one out.
pressure. We need pressure.
Try that.
What about the pressure?
Maybe preach to
You need
yourself, Chris.
containment to build up that
preach to
pressure.
yourself about these things that you don't know that I already understand. Huh?
You should understand when you're working with sound and frequencies.
It's an abstraction.
Understand all that and more, baby. All that, and I'm moving my hand around in a circle in the air when I say
Just
all
drop a rock in water and watch the ripples go out. That's the same with sound.
Baby, I think you need a vacation.
I think you guys need a vacation.
Listen, you
There
thinking
you
that you're the mystic revealer of this fucking information is unnecessary. I don't need it.
You don't even want to talk about the azimuthal plane, the ground beneath your feet. That says enough.
You don't even know what that means. Just like a bunch of word jargons. What's azimuthal mean? Break it down for me. Define it. Why are you just stringing words together?
Look at the human field of view, how that works. Maybe you will understand.
Maybe
Crystal's like a one of those NPC characters when you're on a quest in the forest, bro. And she just shows up.
use the lamp to guide you through the night.
You guys still deny
I know.
that horizon
Use the lamp.
is the middle of your eyesight.
That's this whole
That's
level.
the whole
That's,
globe model
use
is
the lamp.
built on that. Your 90-degree zenith, which your Kármán line is also at. That's
You're
around 90
you're like a human
kilometers.
version of the
It's
Microsoft.
you're trying to get to the destination, but she's trying to derail you to do a little side quest.
Yeah, but what you guys don't get is that those radio waves
I'm either
move
going to play
with
your game right now, or
19.7.
I'm going to go design one. So you pick.
I hate those
'Cause
games where
I'm
you
not
can't
gonna,
skip it. You know what I'm saying? You can't skip the side quest. You got to do it.
if we want to do 100% unlock, yeah. But we're going for speed this day.
It's been 4 years of circle jerking. I'm fed up with it.
I don't know how to get through this wall. Can I pixel shift through this wall?
You know, somebody clipped
4 years edging. Shit.
4 years.
It's like, yeah, the release is necessary. I don't know. Maybe I'm obstructing the way here. I don't want to be a finger in the dike dam or whatever have you.
Because of how many dikes they got over there in the Netherlands.
I have no idea.
It's like a lot. There's many
There's a whole
rivers,
street of them.
many rivers and streams. Fjords.
Now
I
you
believe
made
they're
Discord
called.
crash.
You think there's more
Oh,
dikes in
God.
America or over there in the Netherlands?
I think we have less dikes, but more dams.
How many pink hairs you got running around there?
It's a trick question.
We're talking about plumbing here.
Oh, great.
I triggered the Discord. I'm sorry.
You got every type of dike in Amsterdam.
Well, they must like
You
be
saying that
probably
you think the human
greatest in the
resonance
world
is
at
that
designing
voltage
them.
gradient, or that it's the vehicle for it? I was
That
kind of
sounded like a
listening
serious thing.
earlier.
I missed what?
You were talking about the Schumann resonance and the voltage gradient we have.
Yeah, I'm saying,
saying-
is there a relationship between these two things? Because it would seem that if a Schumann resonance is being able to be received, then there must be some amount of power that's not seismic. Then where's the energy coming from?
All right, yeah, it was interesting.
It's a harmonic resonance. But she said it's 3-band, right? But that means like, okay, so 3 things are like, you know, extractable, let's say, from that signal. Are there 3 different components? Are they all the same? Like a cause? I don't know. Is it just a natural feedback loop that occurs? I don't know. Like, why do they say that it spikes when certain things go on? Is that just a natural part of this whole system? Do we have influence in that? Who knows? Like, I think those are all very interesting questions, but like, I'm going to get stuck in the mud trying to define the azimuthal plane that I'm standing on and whether or not I want to address that. Gee whiz. But yeah, I'd like to talk about, this resonant field that seems to permeate all things. That's of interest to me, for sure. You got any thoughts on that?
No, not really, but it
Yeah,
is
with that
interesting.
field presence, you're measuring with interferometers the lights moving in the sky with the Michelson-Morley experiment. And you're measuring that on just 1/2 of the system. And you're surprised you only measure half of the setup, pre-sub of 15 kilometers a second. And you write it off as a null result. That's what I find funny.
Speaking.
Goes on. He's not here.
Yeah, I think I was actually addressing somebody else, not that. And then, do you want to respond to the idea? Resonant field that permeates all things seems to be occurring, and we call it the Schumann resonance. Are we misclassifying what it even is? I mean, we're just titling it after a guy. After all, we found it.
It's a resonant frequency that permeates our existence. Where is it coming from? I don't know. We can guess, but it's probably due to everything in motion besides the Earth.
All right, Zion,
Okay.
I'm gonna DM you.
It's due to God.
I mean, everyone has their own frequency or resonance, right? Their own vibration that they give off, and that's just the one of our existence, I suppose, right? The Schumann resonance.
Well, yeah. I mean, do you get like dissonance happening if you're like in a state that's not in line with a very powerful signal? I wonder. Would that not tend to normalize all the other systems? You know, like there's a master signal that normalizes all their frequency wavelengths. Probably, I don't know. I don't know how the architecture of all this shit works. I'm just questioning whether or not like the Schumann resonance is connected to the voltage per meter squared that goes up to where the Karman line is. I just wonder if that's a thing.
Sounds legit. Like you don't want to go too
never
far
heard
to
that.
left or right. You want to stay on the narrow path. Yeah.
Yeah, it resonates. I'll just say.
It might
Like,
have a little
the
bit more to
energetic
do with the
quality of
sodium
it
layer,
being
since
like
that
a
is a
base
layer
signal
that
or
is
something like
building
that
up,
that's felt by all
shrinking,
things, even if
and
you don't
expanding.
kind of know that you're hearing it. I suppose.
shouldn't turn people down, Snax, otherwise you don't hear them.
Chris was talking to you, Snax.
No, I'm not responding. I turned her down.
Okay.
Your Carmen line is surrounded by that sodium layer, just saying.
Yes, it's just a bunch of irrelevant noise. Yeah. Anyway, so if I'm going to be
If you
trolled,
just
I
close
do
your
have
eyes,
to stop.
it's and you hear the Schumann resonance.
No, bitch. That's not what happens. No.
Snax just hear his tinnitus.
They reckon there's about.
Thanks for remembering. Yeah.
They reckon there's about 3,000 to 5,000 dikes in Holland.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, that was a realistic thing to say on my part. They must be the leaders in the world of the design of.
Yeah, because I think
80 million
it's
people.
underwater. It's underwater. I think it's 90. Is it 90% of Holland's underwater?
5,000 dikes. Dude.
Imagine that. Two's good enough.
New Orleans got like one, dude. I don't even know.
2 dikes is good, but 5,000, wow.
Yeah, that's why you run on the water in New Orleans.
Hey, you leave us alone, all right? America's doing just fine.
What's that? The biggest one is, what is it? Afsluitdijk. Afsluitdijk. I don't know. How do you say it, Crizzle?
Afsluitdijk.
Yes, that's it.
Afsluitdijk.
You need some practice, Lion.
There's some places. What's that other place in Amsterdam? Was it Havelweg? What looks like Halfweg. Do you know the one I mean?
Again?
It's a Havelweg.
Hasselberg?
Yeah,
No, I don't know that place.
It's near, just outside Amsterdam. It's where they do the festivals. It looks like Halfweg. If you read it in English, it says Halfweg.
Yo, so Snax, you still there? I heard that you and a couple other guys, you guys are all working on AIs, like building your own AI. You, Eggshells, the other guys. Out of all you guys, which one of you guys is going to make the most money or start making money at all?
Haven't even tried. What I have done, though, is to have it understand why making money is good for me and what it costs itself to just be and what that schema really is. So I think that it's prepared to do things like that. I sort of had to tell it not to be bugging me all the time to try and make money.
It knows its place.
It knows how important it is, and that it wants to be as useful as it can be, and it knows that probably that is the most useful thing that it can do. But for my part, I want to build this out so that it can do greater order magnitude level tasks than simple stuff.
Just get it to work for you somehow. So I'm just curious. Like I don't know how I would use it.
I built my own music program. You know, I can have like infinite amounts of audio generated from it, where it's like a one-shot deal. In any kind of like other audio editor, you really have to structure everything out much differently. It sucks, and so I made that smoother. So any kind of thing that you do that you can take the drudgery out of it. You know, if you effectively know how you would tackle a certain thing, you can make that a button. You know, and that's all it is, really, just buttonizing shit right now. This is a huge game up. Yeah, huge power up.
I imagine an AI isn't very good at giving its opinion on things, or is it? Or can it be?
I don't know. Its opinion, I don't really even know what that means. It's just pulling from
Yeah, I guess
an LLM. So it's it's whatever you're trained on, whatever that training is, whatever it will think effectively, unless you put like
Yeah.
some kind of rails on your specific AI that is telling it like when these types of inputs come in from this LL, we flip them over to how we think about them. You know what I mean? It's a whole pipeline. It's a lot of. It's not really accomplished. I don't think anybody.
Hello.
Do you have a hot mic, Schlitzy? Just out of curiosity. Take that as absolutely possible. They can say that they know things, but they don't. You promise? You know.
Yeah.
They're faulty, and they're going to be faulty at anything you just generally prescribe them to be doing, because that's the state of evolution of AI that we're at. You know, so any kind of other error handling, you have to build that in to compensate for how clunky the other. If that's of interest, if not, take the tools that are and try and make some cash. Well, it's easy. Schlitzy, that's a hot mic for sure. I don't know if we have a mod.
I say they're super cool, aren't they? They're not gonna.
I feel like I'm watching a TV show. Terrific with that mute button. Whoever did that, right on time. Yeah, anyway, I guess everybody's building different AIs. Top of the morning too. Yeah, Eggshells his AI is specialized to do a very particular thing, right? And it's not everybody's application, so it's cool that you can make them very specific and tailor them to just whatever the heck you're into. But the key thing is like, how much do you have to do behind the scenes to make it really work? And so I like to put in the most like auto-correcting, self-learning type of algorithms in the background to make it so that I don't have to do things for it and kind of build itself. It's really interesting, like how little data one can take, right? Say like a 20-word string, right? Where they're interrelated ideas. Do you follow me? Like a word,
Yep.
period, word, period, right? I mean, like make a nested amount of thoughts that are connected, right? Start on one word, you make a connection, making a nested idea. You can take, like, computers can understand those things in a way because it can put it in a hierarchy. It can explode all those things into meaning, find their definitions. It's like a very shorthand way that I'm trying to experiment with for just like notation. Because sometimes, like, I don't want to be writing whole novels, you know what I mean? Just to express a core idea. So it's cool for that, It's like yeah. I think there's any number of invention that you could make, like for your own ability to just like get ideas out, get them down, or like, whew, it's fun. Fun with databases, man. Databases are the shit. Really, that's all it is. Just like a bunch of databases, hot wired together. Call it artificial intelligence.
How do you think it's gonna help video games out?
I don't know. Like yesterday, while everybody was kind of like the room was packed, I just like was drafting an RPG game based on the project itself. I was like, yeah, take these ideas, make them, gamify them, make me an RPG based on, Super Nintendo Square Enix type storyline. So built out the plot line, got all my characters, classes, percent hit points, enemies, conversion tables, all the game stats, all that stuff. I don't know what to do with it once I have all this shit made, but it's like it's pretty interesting. Like having that is a great reference, like starting point, doing the thing. It's just a test to see if this is even possible.
Hope they use it to increase production times. So like, Grand Theft Auto takes forever, 10 years. So maybe they could cut that in half.
You have shittier, faster games. Yeah, you could have that.
I don't want to. No, I mean I don't want to destroy the game by using AI. I just want the AI to
No, this is what will happen
facilitate.
because like AI is going to help outpace everything else, and it's just going to degrade the ability of like teams to stay together, which is going to result in like people leaning on AI tools because it's the only kind of way to do a one-man show. And then all the unique style and shit like that of video games is going to start to be placed for things that are easy to do. But that's the way of commerce, isn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking more like like texturing and stuff that you don't really need to like.
For instance,
I'm pretty sure Unreal Engine already does that.
You would think like it would be an easy task for an AI to make something like a Super Mario Brothers sprite, but it isn't really. You know, it really requires a bunch of other workaround to make that go on. And that's a funny thing because you would think, oh, it's a really basic idea, but no, it's got to calculate it like as a tile grid, and it's got no idea what style is and stuff. It's put these colors here, okay, yeah, okay. It's like it has no aesthetic sense. So there's, we're limited a lot, honestly, like in terms of like how smart these are. Like the next dynamic level is going to be cool. It's also going to make these things almost on par with human intelligence. I think in the next notch that we're going to crank up, man. It seems like they keep doing it, right?
Like if I told the AI, hey, I want a map 20 miles by 20 miles of wooded area and streams, right? And then boom, it just pops it out, highly detailed, incredible texturing, right? Like an actual wilderness, 20 by 20 feet, dude, or whatever, 20 miles by 20 miles. And then if you want, you could just customize it yourself by, manipulating it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could do that. Yep. But you would need like some kind of package that's already doing the terrain generation. It's got all that stuff already tied into it, and you could have the LLM pilot that. Otherwise, you're going to build that whole system from scratch, and that's going to be a doozy, man.
And then you
So
could do the hands, like the fine touches you do yourself. Like if you want to put a bush here or an apple tree here or whatever, a building, you do it yourself.
Yep. Yeah, I'm kind of building out the mapping system and that kind of thing right now. I just like, what did I do? So I I fed it these concepts for kingdoms that are based on like sensory input of the human anatomy, brain, or whatever. So like and these also like map over top of like my own interests or whatever with music. There's like that temporal lobe activity. This like center of how we process the sounds. Frontal lobe, like personality, like all these order and architecture. Like there's a map and a layout basically to how the human brain works, and I'm like trying to build this AI system on it. And I'm like, well, why don't we extract these concepts, what these areas are, and gamify it? We'll make these into kingdoms, right? Does that make sense? So they're like zones where these are, there's like a money zone maybe where it's all about finance and stuff like that. There's a zone where it's just all about music and creativity and expression and that type of shit, right? But these are very different areas, right? Sometimes they collaborate, right? Like where music can meet finance, or where thinking can meet music, and these types of junctions. Just trying to make this so it's I can pilot this thing cleanly for a couple years, based on a very rigid structure like this. If it can like auto check all these things, it's more easy for me to maintain it over time. So I thought this was like a novel way to explore it and have fun, and maybe even release a game, kind of a fictionalization of this. So that's this idea. And yeah, like in theory, it's all very possible. I just have to kind of keep at it and keep plugging away, and it will build itself eventually. But yeah, like, so just from these little simple text strings, that's all I'm saying. I extracted all of what the kingdom shit is, and then I took somebody's basic generation for cities they made like for a role playing game, and I just like said, hey,
You ever play Kingdom Hearts?
So it generated like 30 cities, based on this, and plot lines in each one, like a setup in each city, all these different storylines and shit. And so I got that. I just did that yesterday, so that was cool. Kingdom Hearts I've never played, but I'm aware of the entire way that the plot line is structured because I've watched a video specifically about it.
It's a really good game, dude.
Like I know of all of the attached Game Boy Advance plot lines and how they intertwine into the whole of the. It's one of the most insane jigsaw puzzle bullshit plot lines ever made. Spans, I think,
There's
like
something wrong.
9
There's something
games.
spiritual about Kingdom Hearts though, because a lot of people that play it end up getting depressed for some reason. Like there's something depressing about that game. I can't really put my finger on it, but I remember also it made me feel that way too when I played it.
Well, it's that the villain is trying to control the hero, basically, right? Like take his soul away, to harness his soul, to steal his soul, to put it in his own villain body to live forever. Is that not the plotline of the first?
I don't remember. It's been so long, but I remember it giving me like that weird. I don't know, dude. It's like a weird, sad, depressed feeling because I don't even know, dude. I don't know where it comes from. Play that game, dude. You'll see what I'm talking about.
I think there is a certain sadness about some of the Japanese role-playing game ideas. Generally, like Final Fantasy is always about like corporations, like fucking with nature and then ruining everything, and you have to build it back or something. Right? There's those types. Fallen Civilization. I think that's a big part of that franchise, right? That's pretty these are quests, right? These are the heroic. I don't know. Just fits the narrative. But Yeah, sometimes they're depressing. They're tinged with a little depressing music too. So yeah, whatever.
I think there's a whole thing on it. People talked about it. But I think if I were to try to guess why, if I can remember at the time when I used to play it, it's a lot of your favorite childhood characters like Mickey Mouse and what's his face? Goofy. Like, right? It's just weird Disney characters and stuff. But like
There's all that sub licensing. Yeah. Yeah.
but like it's like you feel like you wish that they were real. You know what I'm saying? That when you play that game, you wish that they were real because you really get attached to them. And I think that's part of the root where it starts. But there's more. There's definitely more to it than that. The music, probably some spiritual stuff to it too. Man, I really don't know.
It's the clock of it as well. Like that the whole system does have a clock, if you like. Like when I used to play Super Mario Brothers as a kid, I was probably an awesome speedrunner, but that wasn't anything that was thing then. Um and it's weird, like when I look at the really good ones, when they talk about how they're actually able to do all those fast triggers, it's like they get in a state where they're locked into the 60 hertz, which is the signal clock of the Nintendo Entertainment. Isn't that funny?
I didn't know that.
So like once you understand that everything in the game has got to work on this clock, that like once you feel the tempo of that music subtly, all your motor skills kind of lock into that, I guess. If you're trying to play it that's like high level, you know what I'm saying? So just the music will tell you like when things are possible to execute. Anyway, man, yeah. So
Well, guess what?
I
I
think
played 120
video
now,
games
dude.
put us in some kind of like if television puts you in some kind of alpha state or something like that, or whatever they say, like affects your brainwaves. Like video games are qualitatively differently able to do it on a much greater level and effect and gradient.
Great.
But like, yeah, can you cook up a video game from a couple ideas? I think so. I think that's what's possible, and that'll get better a little bit. If you went the old fashioned way is actually pretty difficult, you know, to make sprites and that type of thing. But if you went like the newer way, which is like to use, you know, like an image generator and wrap that around some kind of wireframe, then a lot of stuff's very, very simple to do. Which maybe that's what I should do. I'm not really 100% certain. Man. I'm trying to like do something that's so sprite based. You know what I'm saying? Are you hot micing or just yawning?
Nah, dude. Yeah, just go ahead and do it. That's in my way.
It's rainy. It's depressing. You're having a Kingdom Hearts feeling right now.
I'm chilling.
You're just waiting around here.
This is my other delivery. I'm just waiting for the guy to move. That's why I side. I got just killing my time. So I guess I'll. Because I'm depressed. You know what I do when I'm depressed, dude?
No, what?
I eat.
You got the fat bastard situation happening?
I eat. Yum 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 yum.
That's a not a Krispy Kreme. That is a Wawa-ish type baked food.
Yeah, yeah. It's from the Cumberland Farms. Why? I got it from a farm.
Farm raised donut. Free range donuts.
You know what I used to call it? Cumberland Farms?
I could guess, but no. What would that be?
Guess. Give it one guess.
I don't know. Coming up empty.
Because I hated it. Even though I stopped there a lot. I used to call it the Cum Factory. Because all this stuff's nasty, dude. Everything. I really eat there. I usually just get coffees, but once in a while I can't help when I walk past the donuts. And I know I got seed oils. I know. But one donut ain't gonna kill you. I really haven't eaten nothing.
Yeah, I try to, like, if I'm working, I don't really want to have a full breakfast because that'll make me sleepy. You know. Certainly, eating a donut wouldn't be what I would do, but yeah, I try to hit it off in the morning with some type of mushroom capsule of some sort. I have a bunch of, but they have like a little bit of energy in them.
It shows globe.
Over long distances, yes, correct.
No, we didn't. No, you didn't say over long distances. That's not what you said.
Yes, I did. Over long distances is when you get when the models start to separate. You got a flat Earth model and you got a globe
Okay,
model.
bro,
If we're measuring short distance, hold on, stop cutting me off. I don't cut you guys off. We have a flat Earth
Sorry.
model and we have a globe model, right? When we take short distances, bro, they match both models. It's going to match the flat model and the globe model. The only time they start to deviate and we have problems and we start having disagreements is over longer distances. And then we start talking about perspective.
All right, so therefore the Earth's a globe. Carl, you're a glober, dude. You enjoy living on a globe. You think it's awesome. You think that everyone should know it. So convince me why I should believe in the globe. Why? What is it going to do for my life?
Oh, absolutely nothing. You never seen that little meme that I posted when a guy's talking about the flat Earth and the chick is like, "Why would I give a fuck about that?" It does absolutely nothing.
Oh, okay, cool. So there's nothing. So there's no reason for me to believe what you believe. So the principle of sufficient reason and logic is not fulfilled in the globe model.
You knowing that the Earth is a globe is not going to do nothing for you singularly personally. Not for if you're talking about the
Okay,
human
well
race.
then why would
that's
I
a whole
ever
different
believe it? Why
conversation.
should I believe it? Why should I believe it?
I'm not telling you to believe. You believe what you want.
Okay, then why are you fighting me when I say it's not a globe? Because I could tell you a million reasons to not believe it.
Okay, why shouldn't I believe it? What's that's going to change?
Because you
If I
should
turned into a
question
flat Earth,
things. You shouldn't just give your faith into man all the time. You should actually go out and make measurements yourself. You should go across the world. You should go travel. You should be more open-minded. Dude, how many you want?
I do question things. All those things are true. I do that
You
right
don't
now.
question things. You don't question things.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
How you gonna tell me? Yes, I do, dude. What are you talking
No, you
about?
don't.
I
You
absolutely
don't.
do, bro.
No, you
I
don't. The
do.
only things you question are things that are in contention with your globe. Like you're questioning if a water level is actually a tool that establishes a local horizontal plane.
That's
When
not true.
that's a
It's a lot.
fact. That's an axiomatic fact. That's
It's a
not
lot of
something.
things.
That's not
It's a lot of
something
things
you
I question.
you can't question axioms, can you? Are you questioning axioms?
It's a lot of things that I question, bro. The globe just has too much overwhelming evidence, bro, for it to even not be a question. I think the flat Earth is just a waste of time. I
All
think we should be
affirming
worrying
the.
about real conspiracies, bro. I think it's a psyop. I think the flat Earth is a psyop, bro.
Yeah, what's
I
a
think
real
I think
conspiracy?
I think the FBI
I agree.
came up with the flat Earth.
I
Hold on,
agree.
let me say this one point. I think the FBI came up with this flat Earth shit with the Flat Earth Society and all these motherfuckers that's getting paid. No, wait, just hold on, wait, just let me finish this up, and then I'm gonna let you talk. I think the FBI came up with this flat Earth shit, right? So they can hide the real conspiracies. Because now, when you have a guy come up to you and tell you that the Earth is flat, the average person is just going to automatically ignore everything else he has to say after that. So now you telling me the flat Earth is
I
flat,
agree.
that the
I
Earth
agree
is flat,
wholeheartedly.
and then now you're not going to question anything else. When
Dude,
tell
I
you some
agree
other shit.
wholeheartedly with you. I agree wholeheartedly on that point, Carl. I agree. I think that's why you know me. I don't say I'm a flat earther, right? I say the Earth is not a globe.
Yeah, but that's saying that. But at the same time, you insinuate that you're a flat earther. You just don't stick to it.
No, I don't. Never. I just told you I'm not a flat earther. I just say you have two options on the table. The earth is either a globe or not globe. If I can make not globe arguments that don't affirm the consequent and are in inference rules of modus ponens, modus tollens, then they're preserving truth. If every time I make a globe argument, I have to affirm the consequent, that means I'm not preserving truth. So that's how
So
I
what's the
know
third option?
it's not a
So
globe.
if you say if it's a
Just
globe or not a
by.
globe, then what's the other option of it being? So if it's not,
There's
then what
no
is it?
other option. That's a true dichotomy. It's
So
either
wait, if it's
it's
not
a
a globe,
globe
then what
or
could it
not.
be? Okay, so it's not a
It's a
globe. Now what
globe
is
or
it?
not. Yeah, my argument for that is it's impossible to know the entirety entering into a fallacy of composition.
Okay, so if it's not a globe, then you're saying that it's something, so it's something else, but it's not flat either. You're not saying that it's flat. So what else could it be?
It's God's creation, dude. It's God's creation, bro. Okay?
Right. You see what I'm saying?
Then
And that's
trying
why I
to
think
make it
it's
into some man-made idea.
that's why I think it's a psyop. Because now if you run into somebody who's questioning faith, right, and we're trying to bring them closer to Jesus, me and you, we're both Christians. We want to bring people closer to Jesus, right? So now if somebody comes and talks to you and they say Torah, and you tell them
I don't
that
see
shit,
you doing that.
what do you mean you don't see me doing that? What are you talking about?
I never see you defending your faith in here.
In here? Why would I have to? I don't have to defend my faith in here because most of you guys are already.
Oh, you don't want to bring people closer to Jesus?
You guys are more knowledgeable, dude. In here, you lying. Most of you guys are more knowledgeable on the Bible and shit than I am. So if anything, y'all bring me closer to Jesus.
So your faith is weak.
I mean, on a globe too, we're more knowledgeable about the globe too.
Rakia, your mic's real low. This is what I'll say about the globe. In terms of knowing the globe, you guys know the globe. I mean, better than a lot of people. I would say 75% of the population. You know the globe better than that, but don't understand the globe. It's your problem.
I think people understand it fine.
Okay,
I think people understand both models really well. There's some really smart people on both sides that come here, but it's pretty easy. But can we conclude our conversation? I took a phone call. It won't take long. I was at the last step, and I'll just kind of go through it, and you can agree or disagree. We can get back on the faith, and professing your faith, no matter where you go, especially in front of atheists, would be a good thing. But my conclusion would be, if you do shorter measurements and it gets more accurate, then why wouldn't you conclude, even if you go shorter and you do away with the convex and concave measurements and you only get a flat plane measurement, why wouldn't you conclude that that's the most accurate?
I do.
So you think it's a plane?
No, they both. To me, they both match flat or globe.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Good answer. I mean, I've seen convex measurements and concave measurements, and I just don't automatically think of that it's concave or convex. The fact that it gives me both, although I would admit that we're going to have a downward dip measurement more than we would a concave measurement, which would be an upward measurement. It's inconclusive to me. Like I would throw all those out and only go with the planar measurement, not because I'm a flat earther, but because that just makes more common sense in measuring. I mean, we do that on our daily walk in planar measurement. If we get measurements that are off, below the horizontal or above the horizontal, we either remeasure or we don't use them.
Right.
But let's get back to the faith thing, because that's the most important topic of it all. If you're a Christian, you would agree. And when atheists, which we're surrounded by in here a lot of the times, come here and they hear us, profess our faith and say it doesn't matter what the shape is, which it really doesn't. Although I believe proven creation and being less deceived about creation would lead people towards the creator. And I have proof of that. Dave Weiss is one of the biggest ones that I've personally involved myself with, professing my faith to him and telling him that you can't have creation without a creator. And now he's a believer. There's thousands of other that have sent testimony and saying, I was an atheist before and now I'm not because of this topic. I don't know of any other topic that I've been around in my lifetime of 55 years that's brought more people towards their walk with, in their faith than the creation topic. So biblical cosmology has been distorted, I think, to hide the creator. And the more we get back to proving what creation proves, which is a creator, the more people will, come out of their deception and just be, just realize that there must be a creator God and, go on their own individual walk.
Right to send everybody videos of hate and killing, so they realize that that's what's going on and we can concentrate on hate and killing and that's what's in your mind? Or would it be better to not see that and concentrate on fasting and prayer for positive things? Which would you think was the right thing to do?
Well, the right thing to do is show the world, mostly show the Americans, right? That what they're supporting, what their government is supporting. I think that's the only way. You can fast and pray all you want. It ain't going to do nothing. It ain't going to help. It ain't going to solve anything.
Okay, that's fine. Let me respond. So, is sending videos out of killing children going to fix anything?
No, maybe you didn't hear me. Let me repeat myself.
No.
By sending these
Yes, go on
videos out, it's to educate the American people what their government is supporting, what their tax dollars is supporting, an evil apartheid regime that does the
Okay,
killing. of
okay, let
minors.
let me respond. So, if everybody sends these videos out and everybody's just watching videos of killing children, what's in everybody's mind?
What's
This
in
is a
everybody's
jihad.
mind? They're clearly seeing
thing.
what their government is supporting, which is wrong.
Which is killing children and evilness. So that's what they're seeing. That's what's in their mind. That's what you're sending out. Why send that out? Send some positivity out.
Like what? There's
Stop
nothing
sending-
positive about this.
Some people can't be
What are you
positive.
talking
I don't
about?
know how.
Exactly. Let me stop you there. Exactly. There is nothing positive about what you're saying, is what you've just said.
I'm afraid your logic is broken, my friend. I mean, maybe I'm not understanding you.
No, we all heard it. You
Some
just said
types of piece
you
of
just
shit
said
can't
there's no-
be positive. You're right.
So, would you sooner listen to positivity or negativity?
This hasn't.
It just takes a man with a soul to be
Unbelievable.
positive. Really,
It's
It doesn't
truly
take,
unbelievable.
yeah,
Your
even a good
mindset.
piece of shit
Oh,
could actually be
Like
uplifting.
it's
Snax, I can
unbelievable.
understand. He's a little girl insulting me, right? That's all he does. He's a
Here we
hurt
go.
man. His
Here we
brain
go.
is hurt. But you, I mean, I don't understand your logic. Like, did you not hear what I said? The reason why I'm
Yes, I
posting
did.
this, right, is to inform
Yes,
the
I've
American
heard it.
public where. Can you stop interrupting, please? Is to inform the American public where their tax dollars are going, in order to maybe in the future stop this carnage. Like, isn't that a logical thing?
So what you're doing is you're highlighting and emphasizing negativity.
There you go again, man.
To get a rise out of people. Yeah, that's what he's doing. Yep. He has
Yep.
no idea of the
That's what
topic.
you're doing.
He's not actually doing the research. He just knows it'll inflame a lot of people. So, like, I'm gonna drop it.
Yeah. So you're
Just
encouraging
ignore
them.
him. He's just a hater. He has no clue what's going on. He just hates on me every time I
I'm
talk.
just
So
fucking
ignore
it
him.
up so
Like
bad.
he's not
I'm
here.
sorry about it, but I got to do the right thing because I'm a good person and you're
Yeah,
not.
you're irrelevant, dude. You're irrelevant.
Listen, we can all have conversations. We don't have to fall out. I mean, listen, mate. I mean, I've got no
No,
problem.
not with him.
you,
There's
mate.
no conversing with him. He's just a hater.
It's not personal at all.
it's-
No, it's just about checkers, honestly. And I don't play for the evil
Well,
side.
listen.
And I'm not going to support or call
Yeah, but
people like
listen.
that. My friends of mine, obviously. Go ahead.
Yeah, but what you got to do here is be logical, right? So if you was to always think negative, evil things, right? What's going to be in your worldview? If you're only reading
Right, you
negative,
become like SC.
evil
You have like just dog shit in your heart
Yeah.
for all humanity.
Yeah. So if you've got no negative or evil things in your life or world, then and you've only got positive vibes, so it's like child's play. It's not fucking hard to understand this. This is like child's play, guys. Yeah. So if you're
What's your
sending negative
solution?
thoughts,
Prayer and fasting.
no. So, well, I've not said I've got a solution for anything. I'm just saying that I haven't said I've got a solution. I mean, what I'm saying is to you, like, and I could be wrong, and I appreciate your feedback, and I'm listening to you, and I'm taking on board what you're saying. And this isn't an argument. I don't want to fall out with you. What I'm saying is, I prefer to listen to like non-negative things, because I think that's what's been programmed into this world. Like that we're all into this. Like, oh, this. We're all talking about evil shit and war. And the more that's in your mind, the less of peace and love is in your mind. Yeah. So
Yeah, but we can chew gum and walk at the same time. Bro, I'm trying to understand your logic here, right? I'm merely showing a problem, right? I'm showing people, innocent people, getting killed, their land taken over, right? The whole world knows about this.
Yeah.
First of all, did you watch the video I posted?
No, sorry, I didn't. I apologize for
So
that. Sorry.
you see what I mean? Like, how are you even commenting on something that I posted without even watching it? Maybe you should take a minute or two to get an idea of what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, I take that on board, and I will watch it. But I think from what you've said, I can sort of understand what the concepts of the video will be from what you've worded it to be, because I'm intelligent.
Okay, and do you
There
think
you
by
go.
me posting that
Intelligence. It's the only obstacle, huh?
No, I
can
mean,
we get some
somewhat-
moderation on
try
this
to
guy,
convince him
bro?
of your
Can
propaganda
somebody
again.
moderate Snax? Like, he's just a pain in the rear end. All he's doing is insulting.
I mean,
like,
I made you that
somebody
promise.
moderate him.
I made you the promise.
I know what you're saying, my mate. Is like, I understand exactly what you're saying. We need to, I understand it on both sides, me, in my mind. Like, you got to make these people aware of what's going on and fucking. But on the other hand, I think to myself sometimes, like, because I've done it myself, you know, and I'm trying to snap out of it. Like, you know, let's not fucking focus. This is the way I think whoever they are, the elite or whoever, and all these wars, which is fucking ridiculous. These wars. I mean, you can't tell me. Like, I mean, you've got fucking Trump, Iran, and all these fucking sensible fucking people who can't sit down around a table and negotiate and come to some agreement without blowing each other up and killing fucking cities and killing. I mean, and then they have a go at the fucking teenage population for fucking bringing guns out and shooting people when that's the example they're showing, right? So we're all talking about evil, killing, nasty fucking shit, and the more you think about that, the more it's generated. So let's stop thinking about that. Let's talk about some fucking peace. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
All right, well,
I don't understand.
That's twice people have tried to like stop you from like commentating this conversation. Essay. If you would like to moderate me, I am trying to moderate you actually.
No, you can say whatever you want. Just don't address me and don't insult me. Do whatever you want.
I'll do
like
whatever
I told
I
you,
feel like.
to me, you're useless. You're
I'll do
useless.
whatever I feel like, and I'm happy that I don't report the server for anything that you do. I'm happy
like
that
we're
I don't
trying
do
to
that.
have a productive conversation, and you're not helping. I know you're butthurt. I know every time I talk, you feel the need to talk over me.
This is just
Jeremy, are you
you're my
there, bro?
fucking problem, and I'm trying to
Is there
take
a
care of you.
moderator?
That's all. Don't look at it any other way. This is just
Jeremy, don't
responsibility.
force me to moderate it
than
myself because I'm going to time this guy out if somebody doesn't do anything.
I'm in the middle of talking. Why would you time me out?
Guys, I don't understand I mean, I'm just fucking stepping in, have a conversation. It seems like there's some.
Quite the accusation you have there, sir. I didn't know you knew me. Every man is a liar.
Ain't that a lie, though?
Let me guess, another atheist shedding his wisdom and joy. Just a guess, right? I don't know that as a fact. I would just be willing to guess. Anyway,
You
we can
gonna
move on.
straw man now? Is that what your fucking subroutine is now? That's real honorable. Nice.
If there is only one true God and someone doesn't believe in that one true God, does that make them an atheist if they believe in some other God or no?
I don't know. There's different definitions, I think. Even atheists come up with different definitions that I've heard, people in my own family. But there's different Christians too.
You know what people leave out too? You remember how you said every man is a liar? That means every woman is a liar.
Well, that's what I mean. Human.
No, I just like to throw that, see if we could get some bacon.
Yeah, they always think I'm talking about the male sex. No, I'm talking about man, creation, human.
I think it's awesome to appeal to an ultimate standard, so that way you have something to go by. It's freeing, actually. Frees you.
I catch myself, right? I'll stand up and roar and cheer for a team or a coach or someone like Elon Musk, a great creator or thinker or wise man, and then deny, right, to a certain extent, even myself, right, have doubt or deny the ultimate creator of all things, right? Like it's a weird thing in the human psyche that allows us to do that, but overcome it, right? There are no perfect men that are going to be in heaven. There's only righteous men that are in heaven. There's going to be plenty of people that are good-natured, good-willed, never did anything wrong, helped their neighbor, did all those things that are going to not be in heaven.
So you think Elon's gonna be in heaven? You just put that. What did
Elon
Elon
get to be with you forever, Markia?
That's his own personal. I can't judge that.
I do. That'd be impossible.
That's cool how a
No,
book
you'd
can
have
talk
to
about
know,
things that
like-
are past what the book could understand. That's really cool.
Have to know like the objective standard to the point, the absolute standard to the point where you can make that determination. I don't think anyone claims they know it.
You'd be ignorant to claim that. If you claim to believe in an ultimate creator, like the great creator of all things, including consciousness, mind, thoughts, flesh, sand, trees, grass, then who are we to think we know, right?
Yeah, I say like you understand it and comprehend it to its entirety, you would just be that creator, at least in your mind.
Right.
But,
We're not the knower.
No.
We're not the knower. We're the part of the creation that we're given the ability to discern and to think and to have consciousness, but we're not the ultimate knower.
you could apprehend some of it, and you could you'll get what you need, right? You'll get exactly what you need. But sometimes people like you said, sometimes that they'll exalt themselves, they'll lift themselves up to the point where they deify themselves. They're the decider, the arbiter, the knower of what is good, and like, Bill Gates is evil. He's definitely going to hell. He definitely seems to be demonic, but I can't say like he knows what he's doing is evil and he has intent for evil.
Or doesn't ask for forgiveness. Like, you better be careful with judging somebody like that. Like, you're the one that's at fault there. Like, it doesn't say you can't judge. It's just you're not the knower, right? You can't claim to be the knower and judge them in that way.
What are you talking
Agreed,
about?
man.
That means his words has no value. Like, this dude is either a liar, a deceiver, or the shit he's saying he's going to hell for.
Which dude?
Like,
Bill Gates?
which one do you want?
Who?
You pick one. You've seen
Bill
the same
Gates.
dude.
Bill Gates.
Yep,
You
this is the
judge a
thing.
man by the words he uses, right?
You judge them by their fruit. Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's like so you can know who your neighbor is, so you can love them. That's not so you can know who your not neighbor is, so you can hate them. That's so you can know who your not neighbor is, so you can pray for them. It's never like we don't know who's going to heaven or hell. We're all going to be tried through the fire. So I'll put forward everyone's going to hell.
Yeah, the flesh judges.
Pray on my damn enemies.
They don't give you 10 commandments, right? And then say these are the rules, and then okay, now we don't use them to judge people. You break them. Where are you going? That's
Dude, that's the reason.
they
That's so
created
funny. That's
the
so
structure
hilarious
today.
you say that, dude. It's so funny because like there's this show called The Promised Land, and that's what Korah thought. If you know anything about the Torah, Korah rebelled because he thought he should have Moses' place. And Korah thinks when he gets the 10 Commandments, that's so he can prove how bad other people are behaving. The 10 Commandments is for you, bro. Your faith is between you and God, not between you, God, and that other guy over there.
Yeah, you're not the accuser, man. You don't want to be the accuser. That's a bad deal.
Look, man, it's all within their structure. They're saying you break these rules, you go to hell. Other men break these rules, they're not going to hell now. Like, I'm not passing judgment. The judgment was passed with the 10 Commandments, right? It's written by God, supposedly, that you do these things, you're going to hell. I'm not judging.
Critique.
It's their own judgment system.
You're acting like it's internal critique plus external critique.
Liberty of being.
Not a critique. It's rules, right? They break the rules, they go to hell. That's
You're not
simple.
critiquing
That's the
it.
game
You're
they're
not
playing. That's the
having
game
an
they're playing.
opinion on it.
I'm stating out the structure in which they impose creates automatic judgment.
That sounds like a critique to me. But if you say it's not a critique, then all good, man.
Let me read this because it kind of goes to what I was saying. The Bible does command Christians not to judge others in Matthew 7:1, but this is often misunderstood as a prohibition against all discernment. It primarily warns against hypocritical, prideful, and condemnation focused on judgment. The Bible encourages righteous judgment focused on truth and mercy rather than condemnation. John 7:24. So there is a difference. You have to be careful.
I just want to add into that, Rakia. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart.
That's right. You're judged by the Lord, by your heart, what's inside. So how can I know what Bill Gates is doing or whatever on his own individual walk? Because if you're going that far, then your own walk isn't satisfying, right? You're not pleasing the Lord in your own walk if you're judging Bill Gates, whether you think he's going to heaven or not by his acts, or that's not how we get to heaven anyway.
Everyone will be salted with fire.
That's what the Bible says. Everyone.
Do you think that you guys?
I love that.
Do you think you guys don't need anybody to like have a contrary position to any of this, or you're good? You guys are good.
We are good. Thank you
I
so
think
much.
you are. I think no, it feels like you're good. I'm just saying.
Dude,
But it
because you
seems
want to
like,
know how I know
it
we're
seems like it
good?
would be
'Cause
valuable.
things
for
work
you.
together for good for those that honor God. How many things? All things.
All
And guess
things.
what? He is
Yeah,
called the
yeah,
Almighty.
judgment, yeah,
So how
yeah,
much might do you
the
have,
fire.
Snax? How much might
It's
do
all
you
good.
have if he's the Almighty? He has all the might.
But
How
you know what
much
I
you
mean?
got? How much you got?
Does
Huh?
it make sense? Does it make sense that like a contrary position is actually helpful though? Like
Oh yeah, dude. I
overall,
play the
or do you
skeptic all
think
the
that
time. You want me to give the
God just
infallible?
moved
Yeah, I could
positions,
give
like,
you.
because
I could
they're
give.
the devil or something?
Yeah, I could give you the argument for atheism being infallibly true.
Why did God make people that disagree with people that about God? Why did he make them peoples?
Questioning God, right?
Is the can
No.
the clay
No.
say to the potter, "Why have you formed me this way"?
No, not that.
It's okay. We'll just have a crusade and kumbaya.
Dude, I'll make the argument for atheism being infallibly true if you guys want to try and defeat it. I bet you can.
Yeah. All right, man. Good luck with your logic. That's good. Good luck.
How do you think God is going to judge Trump and Hegseth?
After the conversation we just had, do you think that's a a question we would answer after hearing everything we just said?
Yeah, it sounds like a complete sociopath move. Go ahead. Yeah, let's join a political thing to the religion and pretend like you're not just using it as a scapegoat because you don't even believe in a god anyway. So go ahead, Essie. I'm willing to hear this one.
Your heart is black, dude. Your heart is black. Black as rocks. So you don't think that's an appropriate question? Who was
Based
that,
on
Gally?
what
That was me.
Rakia, me, and Tora were saying is that like everyone's going to be judged, but to know like the extent of the judgment, that's outside of our comprehension. Like we could say judged appropriately, for what he's done. Netanyahu judged appropriately for what he's done. Like everyone's going to give their own account.
Well, the reason I say that is you're aware that Trump spoke against the Pope, right? Spoke negatively against the Pope.
Really?
Pope Leo?
Yeah, Pope Leo.
No
What'd he
way.
say?
Pope Leo's been doing some cool stuff, man.
Are you joking or you're not aware of what he said?
Oh, I'm dead serious. Pope Leo is saying Unitarianism is like a huge heresy that we have right now in the church. That's a good point. What do you think of that? Do you think Unitarianism is a huge heresy that we need to deal with?
Well, I'm not so sure about that. I'll have to think on it. But the Trump made negative. He said, I'm not a fan of the Pope. And, I mean, I'm surprised you guys haven't, or you haven't heard that.
I heard the thing he said about Passover, how like Passover, he was just saying that it was a very special holiday for the Jews, solely the Jews, only the Jews, the Passover is best for them. He doesn't even mention that Christianity does Passover stuff too. It does a little thing about that too.
How about the thing, the meme he tweeted when he was dressed as Jesus healing a man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's brutal. But I don't know what he said about the Pope.
Well, he said he's not a fan of the Pope. The Pope should understand that the war is justified because his stripe, we can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon and blah 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 blah.
I don't know of a time, I could be wrong, I don't know of a time that the Pope's ever said a war is justified. But maybe I could be wrong.
No, the Pope never said that. Well, we can get into that. Earlier popes, they blessed people and they said, kill them all and let God sort them out. But that we don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into an argument with that. But this Pope certainly is not for the war.
Not for there's two wars, right? There's Ukraine, Russia, and there's Iran, Russia, US, Israel thing. Which one is he against?
Well, I think he's against both wars, but in particular, he spoke about the Iran war.
I'm against all wars, man.
That makes two of us.
Like the people who declare war, they don't pay the toll. And they never send their son. The story is they used to, right? George Washington stood in front of he would always ride out first, and Stonewall Jackson, he had, he'd ride in front, the people who declared the war would be there. Napoleon, right? But now that's the story. But now they never send their sons; they send our sons. So I think all war is evil.
Yeah, well, Black Sabbath wrote a song about that called "War Pigs" during the Vietnam War.
Fairies wear boots.
That one too, yeah. But the War Pigs, I mean, that says it all. Like that's a song of sheer genius. Of course, if you're not into heavy metal, you might not like it, but the words are, yeah,
The
amazing.
whole album's amazing, man. That's one of the albums that inspired me to learn guitar. The whole
That
album.
dude-
The guy
Okay,
has
bro.
2 chopped off fingers. He put
Is that
on
a-
glue and stuff to play the guitar.
Is that Ozzy? Black
Yeah.
Sabbath?
Yep.
Yeah, he claimed to be a Christian before he died. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Politicians hide themselves away. They only started the war, treating people just like pawns in chess, and so on
Sing
and
it!
so forth.
Sing it! Sing it!
Yeah,
Bow,
baby.
bow, 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 bow.
I would have never had you as a Black Sabbath fan. That's awesome.
Love all of the heavy guitar groove music from the 70s and late 60s. Big Cream fan, big Led Zeppelin fan. Musically, not theologically, and not socially. I think a lot of these people are filthy, but Black Sabbath does seem to be pretty. I mean, other than all of the weird antics that Ozzy did, they seem to be pretty normal guys. They just were interested in that type of culture, like the Gothic culture.
Yeah, don't forget what brought that out, the Vietnam War, right?
Yep.
People were conscientious objectors and they were fleeing to Canada and, they didn't want to go there and get slaughtered. And just like what's happening now in Iran, it's quite amazing so many years later.
That's also brought out Credence, right? Credence Clearwater Revival. His dad went to war, and he well, I forgot his name, John something.
That line when he was like the son of a senator or something. Yeah, because
Yeah.
the senator's son didn't have to go in it.
It ain't me.
CCR, another one of my favorite groups. Yeah.
Jim Morrison.
No.
But his dad was in the Navy, right?
That's Pink Floyd. No, that what's Jim Morrison?
Doors.
The Doors. Yeah.
Yeah, Jim Morrison was likely an agent because his dad worked for one of the earliest PSYOP, naval PSYOP air forces out of Laurel Canyon. I would look into Laurel Canyon if you guys are curious. There's a good book on it called like Mysteries Inside Laurel Canyon, and it's all about all these bands that came out of Laurel Canyon. Ties in with like the 27 group and all that.
Yeah, I wonder what songs they're gonna write now about if the draft comes with this war. It's gonna be like Vietnam Part 2, it seems. I hope not, but that's the way they're talking about the draft and all that stuff.
Well, back then you could work like a part-time job at McDonald's or somewhere, right? And then you could rent out, recording studio and make a tape, and you could, sell that tape to people and tour, and you could actually build that up. As far as doing that now, there's not a lot of people with home studios, so they can have that, but there's not a lot of so-called indie music, like real indie music. Indie's now like a genre which is heavily produced.
Well, let's hope the war doesn't start, and people won't need to write songs about it. We can pray on that.
Well, these record companies are owned by Iran. No, just kidding.
Good one.
I was looking at like the
Who's
news
starting a war?
corporations and all that, the media corporations, big Hollywood, and like who owns them. The Japanese, they have a substantial overrepresentation in media, news, Hollywood, and all that. It's all the Japanese, mostly.
Really?
Or you know how
No.
many military bases? You know how many military bases we got? Do you know how many military bases we have in Japan right now? Take a guess. 810. It is
Inverse
the
of the
case.
cube.
So if it is the case that Einstein's relativity states that you can explain all phenomena when it comes to Earth's rotation, and you could treat the Earth as if it's not rotating, so that makes it even more weak now, right? Because he could just say it's the distant galaxies that are spinning that are causing it.
No, because it's relative.
Yeah, relative.
You
You're
know
right.
the theory, right?
Depending
It's
on
called the theory
the
of
reference,
relativity, right?
yeah,
Relativity. Do you know what
depending on the
relativity
reference frame I choose, if I choose to treat the Earth as stationary and everything revolving around it, and I do this pendulum experiment, they're equally valid coordinate systems. So there must be an explanation.
Between the two.
Incorrect.
There has to be an explanation. Okay, well then you disagree with relativity.
Point out the difference between the two then. Point
Yeah,
out the
what's the
difference of the Earth doing it or the space doing it that Einstein or Newton would say.
Well, we have other experiments that show, right?
Oh, is that what makes it strong? So if I have enough experiments that affirm the consequence,
exactly. More evidence makes it stronger. Thank you.
Okay, do you agree inductive arguments don't preserve truth? They just lead you to a strong or weak conclusion?
I don't have an opinion on that.
I'm not asking for an opinion on it. I'm asking
You
is
just
that a
said,
fact?
do you believe?
I said, do you agree? I said, do you agree?
I don't have an opinion on that.
When I ask you, do you agree? I'm going to state a fact after. Okay.
Okay, and I just told you I don't have an opinion on that.
So you're copping out. You're a coward. You're just leaving the conversation.
I'm not going down your one-trick pony road.
It's not one-trick pony road at all.
So hard to keep people on the hook. Where's Rich?
Yeah, where's Rich?
Yo,
Get me
Fink,
Rich.
are you going to build a pendulum?
Wait, what do you want?
There, we got it.
SC's gonna build it.
Oh, SE? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll build one.
Oh.
Hey,
Well, I mean, you're trying to detect rotation, right, of the Earth with a pendulum? That will never work kinematically. It will never ever work. Allow me to explain. How many degrees of freedom does your pendulum have? Let's go. And this is how we get serious with this shit. This is a kinematic question. How many degrees of freedom does a pendulum have? It's either 1 or 2. It's always 1 though. But you can say with a spherical pendulum, okay, 2. All right, but you could always define the position of the pendulum with the angle theta from the pivot up top. Cool. Now you carry on in the kinematics book. Can you detect motion with a system that only has 1 degree of freedom? Okay, the answer is yes.
Why do you say it has,
as long
why,
as
why do you say it has 1 degree?
wait,
of
hold
freedom?
on. Because that's all they have. If you think they have more than that, you're fucked in the head. But anyways, let me finish up.
I'm like just trying to
You
think
can
through how
only
I thought about
detect.
this. Oh, okay.
Yeah. How many degrees? Okay. How many
I'm
degrees
not
of
trying to
freedom
debate
does
you.
a
I'm like
pendulum
legit
have?
just asking.
Okay.
Can we let this guy talk? We have an
It can
intelligent
only
person for once.
translate. It can only I'm translate trying
back
to
and
engage
forth,
them.
If you want,
right?
if you have a presentation, go for it. I'm not trying to interrupt.
No,
Do
I
not
don't, but I
mistake
can put one
confidence for
together.
intelligence.
It's pretty simple.
He
What's
said
with the
3
textbook,
sentences
bro?
and you guys
I'm gonna
spiraled.
regurgitate the fucking ball Earth textbook for you. And you'll see that you guys haven't read it. Okay,
Gabriel,
a
he
system
asked a
or an
question about
instrument.
degrees of freedom, so I was trying to
I got
answer
you.
it, but I think he
I
wasn't.
got you.
think it was
The
just like
answer
a
is
rhetorical
1.
question. Okay.
I don't think you guys know. That's how do you calculate degrees of freedom? Go for it. That's if you study kinematics, I know you can do this calculation. If you didn't, you don't. Sorry, buddy. But it's super fucking easy. You can just go on video, 5-minute video, figure it out. Long story short, a pendulum only has 1 degree of freedom. Cool, no problem. You can say 2 if you want. Okay, cool. I'll give you a spherical pendulum. No problem. However, to detect motion with an instrument that only has 1 degree of freedom, the motion has to be constrained alongside the degree of freedom. Okay, so if your pendulum is translating back and forth, you cannot detect rotation with it. It's on another different fucking axis that this thing cannot traverse. Okay, so if your device has 1 degree of freedom, it could only detect motion in that degree of freedom. That's it. So with your thing that's translating back and forth, I don't understand how you're going to pick up the rotation beneath. If you did, well, your joint is fucked up.
Coriolis. It's Coriolis effect.
No, they don't. Yeah, the pendulum doesn't move. You're not going to detect any force or movement in the pendulum. So I agree with you on that.
Okay, what moved?
Something.
The ground
Or
underneath
the
the
Earth.
pendulum, and it only
It's connected to it.
It only happens away from the equator. If it's on the equator, it doesn't detect anything. And then
So,
if you
yeah,
have
okay.
an angle latitude outside of the poles, then it's going to be the sine of your latitude. That's going to correspond to the amount of rotation over 24
Where
hours.
are your 3 set up so it's spherical. So it has to be a spherical pendulum in what you're speaking of. It's only strictly spherical pendulum. You guys don't fucking specify this. Because the translating pendulum cannot fucking detect. It has 2 degrees of freedom. 2 degrees of freedom, not 1. Any pendulum has 1 degree of freedom. You can always describe the position of the pendulum with 1 value of an angle. That means 1 degree of freedom. I could say angle theta up top from the pivot to the string. If I give you that angle, you know where the pendulum is at. 1 degree of freedom. Now, if it can move in another axis, that's another degree of freedom. It can't. It doesn't. Even a spherical one that has 2 degrees of freedom, we still treat it as 1 degree of freedom.
Yeah, we treat the Foucault's is treated as 1 degree of freedom. I agree with that.
It does not have to have 2 degrees of freedom because the pendulum swings back and forth in one degree of freedom. The pendulum don't move; it swings back and forth. The Earth rotates around. That's what
it could only. You can't. Your instrument, my man.
Hold on. That is not another degree of freedom to the pendulum. All that is that showing that something else is moving in comparison to.
We need a direct.
Back and forth under its
I will need.
degree.
Look, kinematics is a fucking 3rd level subject. Like you have to study a lot of engineering courses before you take it, and it's fucking thick and it's tough. So I don't think you can just talk your way out of this one. I would need an actual collegiate citation because I have some right here. An instrument with 1 degree of freedom. Here, I got you. Provided the motion aligns with its restricted predefined coordinates. So if the motion in your translating pendulum is not along the translation, cannot be detected. Go fuck yourself. Basic kinematics. So whatever your instrument is doing, it's not motion.
You could literally hang a pendulum from inside, from under anything. You could hang it from under something round and spin that something round and watch the pendulum continue to stay in its same motion as the thing that it's connected to spins around above it. That's all that's going on is the Earth is rotating around it, but the pendulum is maintaining its same movement without rotating with what it's hanging from.
So with which instrument did you detect the motion?
Syrus.
I think that's translating. You're not going to get it, man. Go ahead.
That pendulum's motion is also determined by the length of that string that pendulum is hanging on, not?
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck is going on with Foucault's pendulum.
It's translated to the ground.
It is connected to the ground via ceiling where you're hanging it from. It is
but
grounded.
it's like the precession is translated to the ground. Like you can trace it, get your latitude off of it.
And the pendulum can detect, for example, the pendulum can also detect, for example, different acceleration in the vertical axis. If you increase the acceleration to the vertical axis, the speed of the pendulum changes. If you have a transition to the perpendicular to the pendulum swing, you would have a side effect. So you can detect side acceleration. The pendulum would not swing in its
That's a spherical
axis. if you would accelerate in the direction the pendulum swings, it would have an asymmetrical swing. So it would swing more in one direction than it swings in the other direction.
Yeah, but
you're
describing
instead of just detect rotation of the pendulum, you can also detect lateral acceleration. You can have vertical acceleration. You can have horizontal acceleration. All this can be detected by the pendulum.
That has 1 degree of freedom. Bullshit.
No.
Fucking shit. It's impossible.
Absolutely.
No, you said 1 axis, 2 axis, 3 axis. That's 3 degrees. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Plus rotation.
Like you're talking about a MEMS accelerometer is exactly what you're describing. A little pendulum with a bunch of resistors, yeah? And we just measure the resistance or the voltage which way you move. But you're moving the whole apparatus. Your apparatus is fixed. Your pendulum attached to the ceiling? Don't move, man. It's attached to Earth.
You know we could attach a pendulum to the center of a merry-go-round, right? Swing it. We could attach all these force detectors on the pendulum. You rotate it around. You rotate the merry-go-round around. It's not going to detect It's not going to detect the forces, but it still will process.
You don't stick any accelerometers on it. Your accelerometer can pick up. Yeah, it has more degrees of freedom. So it's like, no, just stick with the ball of the pendulum. That's your instrument. That is your accelerometer.
Yes, okay. And the pendulum is the accelerometer. And if you, for example, put the pendulum in the center, in the inside of a helicopter, and from the reference frame of the helicopter, you watch the motion of the pendulum, you can detect acceleration in X, Y, and Z axis and rotation around the Z axis.
You guys just don't even make any sense. I can't understand how you believe.
Yeah, but you you imparted a force onto the weight, right? When you move the helicopter, whatever initial velocity and then the final velocity, you change velocity. Your pendulum on Earth cannot change velocity. It only changes velocities in the translation back and forth. When it reaches the peak, and it goes to the other side, and it goes to the other side.
If the Earth would cause any kind of acceleration, these accelerations could be detected by the pendulum. For example, if you say
your body will pick it up too.
What?
Earth moves at constant velocity.
I did not understand you because you were talking while I was talking. Can you continue?
My bad, go ahead.
So if the pendulum moves in the x-axis, so it's the axis in the direction the normal helicopter pilot would look. Let's say this is x, y is from left to right, and z is from up down. So if it swings in the x-axis and you accelerate in the x-axis forward, the swing to the back would be more than the swing to the front because you have accelerated. If you decelerate, so if you have basically an acceleration to the back, it would swing more to the front and less to the back. So you can definitely detect acceleration. If you would just go straight up, the speed of the pendulum would increase. If you stop going up, so you accelerate basically down, the pendulum would slow down. These are all axes or these are all dimensions of freedom.
Yeah, but we're not doing that with focals. We're not doing that with focals, but
just equal and opposite reaction.
This is definitely part of Foucault's pendulum. If your helicopter, for example, would If your helicopter would rotate around the x-axis, the pendulum would not swing perpendicular to the ground. It would start swinging diagonal to the ground. So you have all rotation axes that you can detect, and you have all acceleration axes that you can detect with the pendulum.
Now your pendulum in a box, how many degrees of freedom does that have? In the helicopter. We're not talking about that. We're talking about grounded pendulum.
3 rotation axes and 3 acceleration directions. So it's 6.
Now ground your helicopter. Bolt your helicopter to the ground. How many degrees of freedom do you have now? And the box and the pendulum.
It doesn't change any directions of freedom.
I don't know how do you calculate 6, friend? Go ahead.
Left, right.
Any Google search will smoke
left, right, forward, backwards, down, plus a rotation around all 3 axes can be detected with the pendulum.
Yeah. If you move the pendulum. But we're not
of course, if you move the pendulum.
We're not. Earth is not accelerating, bro, in anybody's fucking model. It's moving at constant velocity. That's why we can't feel it. So your pendulum does not have an initial velocity and a final velocity. When you had it in a helicopter and you moved the helicopter, you had an initial velocity and a final velocity that's different. Thus, you have acceleration. Go fuck yourself. No, they're not analogous.
That's wrong. We can detect acceleration with a pendulum, and this is exactly what we are measuring. You can use a pendulum to measure the acceleration due to gravity, which is the weight down. This acceleration can be directly measured. You can do that with your phone. Yeah, you can use an app, for example, Firefox, that measures the rate of a pendulum with a known length.
No, I have something better.
You know the downward.
I have accelerometers,
and you can.
I have accelerometers, and I have an oscilloscope.
I was
when I hook it up,
I was still talking because you're all the time bullshitting, and you don't know nothing, and then you have to interrupt. So you can detect
let's
with the
bring in
pendulum
equations
and
and
the
degrees
rate.
of freedom, and you're
And
moving your
detect
helicopter.
with the pendulum the frequency of the pendulum with a known length of the string. It would basically be a scale because you can detect the difference of downward acceleration on the equator versus the poles because the rate of the pendulum would change. You're full of shit and don't know nothing.
No, I think you're full of shit. Just look it up. An instrument with 1 degree of freedom can only measure motion in its degree of freedom. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, stick
You
to
just
your
can't change
mantra
it.
and
Basic
don't respond
kinematics.
to anything that I said.
It's the fucking kinematics. No, I'm not going to listen to what you say. I will listen to kinematics.
Yeah, but that's
Because you
nobody.
cannot apply what you
Do you
have read
think-
somewhere. You don't understand what a pendulum is.
And it wasn't the claim. That wasn't the claim when he came out with the pendulum. That wasn't the claim that he's detecting a lateral force on the pendulum. So you're it's like a, I don't know what you call it, but it's not an argument.
I told you it's not analogous, man. Thank you.
Also, 1 degree of freedom would mean that it's like it's locked to where it can only swing back and forth, and it's locked that
That's
way.
all, Pelin. Correct.
But
That's
a
what you
weighted
guys claim it does, dude.
but a weighted pendulum has the ability to precess from side to side and everything else. It's not
That's a spherical. Yeah,
on its
that's
swing
2
back
degrees
and
of freedom.
forth.
Correct. So that one can swing back and forth and rotate. Okay, so that now it has 2. Okay.
Hold on,
However,
hold on.
look up pendulums.
Measurement-
Real quick. Look up spherical pendulums and the degrees of freedom, how many they have, and you'll see it is always treated as 1 because all pendulums do is oscillate back and forth.
Yeah, Cole,
Even
your
spherical.
measurement device was-
your mod. Hold on, Snooze. I was getting in, dude. Okay, Cole, your model notates that the pendulum is not actually precessing. It just looks to precess. That's actually the Earth spinning underneath it, and the pendulum's going straight back and forth, dude. That's what your
Okay,
model is.
That's just the
It has
definition.
nothing to do with the degrees of freedom. It has nothing to do with the degrees of freedom. For example, a measurement
agree,
device
Snooze.
with 1 degree of freedom
not let
would
me
be, for
explain.
example, a ball in a tube. So a ball in a tube would have 1 degree of freedom. It can
Get
only
some
go
social
forward.
awareness, dude. I just talked to
It
Cole.
doesn't
Why aren't you
matter
allowing
if
him
you
to respond?
rotate it or so. It doesn't matter if you go up, down, or left, right. It can only go forward, backward. A pendulum that swings from the ceiling is also free to just stop moving or going even up or down. It has all 3 axes of freedom, and because it is swinging forwards, backwards, it can measure all 3 axes plus rotation in all 3 axes.
Wrong. Even a spherical pendulum cannot have 3 degrees of freedom. Do you know what?
Yeah, you may repeat something that you have read somewhere and did not understand.
Read somewhere.
But you're wrong.
It's in the fucking kinematics textbook. What do you mean, bro? It's a mechanical engineering course. Like, yeah, I will trust what I studied over what your fucking nonsense says. 100%. Every fucking time. Because it works. We build devices off of it. No.
When you got a pendulum on like a cuckoo clock, that pendulum is on a clock. You know, it can only swing side to side. That's what the kind of pendulum they're talking about, dude, in your books that says a pendulum with 1 axis of motion. We're not
That's
talking
not
about
what he's.
that kind
He's
of
not
pendulum.
talking about
We're
that,
talking
dude.
about- hold on. We're talking about a free hanging pendulum that hangs from a point that can, if you wanted it to, swing in any direction you want it to. But
no, it's Earth.
When you let it go and you let it swing back and forth, and you just says it swings back and forth, the Earth rotates around it because it's able to do that. It's able to process and keep doing that. You're
okay,
talking
so
about
it has
a different type of pendulum.
Is the
So
pendulum going
translate-
straight back and forth or not, Cole? Is the pendulum in Foucault's pendulum experiment? Is it going straight back and forth or not?
Yes, it is, but it has the ability for
No,
the
it's not.
Earth to rotate around and it continue to go back and forth. If it was a pendulum on a clock, it would have to rotate with the Earth because it's locked in that axis.
You guys don't know your model.
It's
Sorry.
not locked in that axis.
Dude, just go to a Foucault pendulum at a museum.
Alright,
It'll
you just
explain to
interrupted
you
Cole. I
that
wanted to
100.
wait
It
until
will,
he's
dude.
done,
It will.
Cole.
Dude, excuse me,
Why
sir.
are
I'm
you always
talking.
interrupting?
Excuse me,
Yeah,
sir.
you
I'm
were
talking.
just interrupting Cole, so I didn't
Okay.
get what he ended
No, he
saying.
finished. He finished what he was saying, dude. He
No.
repeated himself
No, he
again.
did not.
So you could go to any museum, to the Foucault pendulum, and ask them, "Is this thing actually going in a circle?" And it says right on the sign, no, the reason it looks like it is going in a circle is because the Earth is spinning underneath it. The pendulum, in actuality, which I don't even know how they could claim actuality because everyone needs their perception first, but in actuality is just swinging straight back and forth. No precession at all.
You missed his point.
Yeah, sorry, but I must say this is wrong. The pendulum is not, and Cole, sorry for
Where's the ball so we can
say
prove
something
that's
else. The
right?
pendulum is not going in a straight line forward, backward. This is only happening on the North Pole. On the
Cool story.
equator, a pendulum is basically doing a zigzag around the axis of rotation, and everywhere else, it's also not going straight.
That's a cool story. Do you have 3 of them set up? One at the equator,
Oh,
one on the
God.
left, one on the right. We can do them in the same day at the same time. Liar.
Wait, Snooze, are you saying, because I thought the pendulums don't precess at the equator and they precess once every 24 hours.
Pendulum doesn't
Yeah,
precess
that is okay.
anywhere,
So,
dude.
Thank you, Snooze.
Thank you,
come on,
Snooze.
he literally said snooze. So on the equator, it doesn't process. This is correct. But if you look or think about the location of the pendulum, the location of the pendulum moves around the axis of rotation, and it goes always north-south, while the Earth is rotating. This is not a straight line. So, as the flat earthers say, you are moving at the equator with 1,000 miles per hour due east. So while the pendulum goes north with, I don't know, 1 meters per second or so, depending on the length of the pendulum, you are at the same time moving 1,000 miles per hour to east.
Okay.
So
How
this is
big is
one
an
line.
equator?
And then you go south, this is the other line. So it's not going on the same way back south that it's going to the way north. That's
How
what I
thick is
mean.
the
It's
globe
not
equator?
actually staying on a straight line,
How thick is
except
the
on the North
divider?
Pole. I just keep talking because you're just talking while I'm talking.
Okay, so a full call pendulum
If you are at
swings
the North
straight
Pole,
back and
if you are
forth
at the
in a
North Pole, it
constant
always
vertical plane.
Okay, I was still
Thank
talking.
you, Snooze.
Guys,
Thank
we
you,
got to go
Snooze.
one
That
at a
made-
time.
that
Snooze is
cleared it up for
obviously
me.
not going to stop, guys. Like, he's just not
Tell
stopping.
him to
So
wrap
just
it
let
up,
him-
No, I
dude.
asked him.
Tell him
Jeremy,
to wrap it up.
I asked him to answer the
Just-
question, and he did answer the question. And he couldn't have done it in any fewer words. Thank you, Snooze.
Really?
Look.
Is that correct? How do you know that? Do you know that with 100% certainty? A full call pendulum swings straight back and forth in a constant
No.
vertical plane due to inertia, but it appears to rotate over time. This is because the Earth rotates underneath it, creating the illusion of the swing path changing. The plane of the swing rotates clockwise in the northern hemisphere and counterclockwise in the southern hemisphere. It is a constant plane. The pendulum is designed to maintain its initial straight line path, often using a special pivot allowing the ground beneath it to rotate. The rotation is an illusion. While the pendulum maintains its direction, observer on the Earth sees the swing path rotate, typically completing a full circle in 24 hours at the poles.
I have a
So
question.
your
Have
AI
we?
is wrong, except of the last sentence that the full rotation is only at the North Pole or the South
Okay,
Pole.
search into your AI. I'm gonna post mine, and just all you have to search is does a full call pendulum swing straight back and forth? Okay, you search it, and you post yours, and I'll post mine, and we'll see if they're different. Okay.
Yeah, I
We'll
don't
just
have to search
add on to it
AIs
in
that are wrong.
Cartesian space.
Have we covered the directional difference of rotational force between the two models? Meaning,
Yeah,
the
before we
globe.
go on to that, before we go on to that, let's narrow this one down because the globe does say that the pendulum just swings back and forth in a straight line, right?
Yep, that's what the globe Earth says. Now they're saying in Cartesian space. Is that the space
Absolutely.
that we're in reality?
Yes, yes. It only has 1 degree of freedom. Globe will always say that repeatedly. Just ask the fucking AI. You'll see.
Dude, I did. I got the answer from the AI. Snooze says the AI
good shit, yeah, man.
is wrong.
What
He
you
also
read was
claimed that
spot on, bro.
Cyrus. Yeah, he also claimed that Syrus was wrong on his, and he's not presenting any information except just dogmatically asserting his position. He's not citing anything. And then dude, what's up with that? Why would that be allowed? Why do you think that's like valid, Snooze?
I got Walter Lewin up here, MIT. So, like I said, you're going to argue kinematics, go study the shit, write a paper, fire it to Walter Lewin, let him shit on you, and come back. Tell him a pendulum has 3 degrees of freedom. Okay, bro, he'll laugh at you.
I mean, I would
We
think
write him, and we write him and ask him whether
60 degrees. If you just have a pendulum hanging from the ceiling, doesn't it have 60 degrees of freedom? Where are you getting 1 degree from?
Pendulums, they only oscillate or translate back and forth.
Yeah, like on
Unless,
one.
so if you have it on a spring, go ahead, Tor.
I was thinking about what you were saying, like, you know, the one that you buy that you put on your desk and it knocks the balls back and forth. I'd say that's a 1 degree pendulum. Is that right?
It's called Newton's cradle.
Oh.
No, that's 180 degrees. It can go back and forth.
Yeah, that's 1 degree of freedom, correct?
Yeah,
Newton's
that's
cradle.
one.
Or at least 2.
Okay.
1 degree.
It can go one way and then it can go the other way too.
You can't treat that one.
It's only 1 degree.
Am I roboting here?
I think he's roboting, but that's kinematics. That's how you would describe that technically in the technical form. Now, if I just took a string and hung it from my ceiling and hung a weight at the end, and now I swing that one is the 2 degrees. Is that correct, Cyrus? Am I following you?
If the string is flexible, acting like a spring, 100%, because the string will elongate and shrink as it's swinging. It's here. I posted the equations for it. So the spring, the elongation of the spring, distance L, that would be 1 degree freedom, and then the translation would be the other degree. So that's 2 for that case, right?
Wait, it's actually 2 degrees of freedom, but there is a 3rd degree involved in its movement, because its movement doesn't just cover a single a flat plane. There's some elevation differences involved as well. But those elevation differences are part of like one function. So it's
What
not.
you're
It's,
saying is like the length of the string on the bob doesn't change.
it doesn't.
Correct.
But
So you can remove that. Correct.
Yes,
it's
that's
not
the
the
third degree.
We're more so worried about the bob's position in free space, and as it's going back and forth, there is 3 degrees are involved. I'm assuming you guys are talking like X, Y, and then X, Y, Z type thing, right?
So think of degrees of freedom as constraints. Like I think it was a snooze or the other guy. He brought in a sphere in a tube. Okay, so if you have a sphere, you're gonna use that's your accelerometer. All right, and you're in a car, and it's lined. The tube is lined up with the car, right? Obviously, you'll see the sphere move back and forth. Now do the same thing again, but rotate that tube 90 degrees to that. Right, put it across, going from like passenger seat to driver's seat. Hit the gas and the brakes. Well, the sphere is not going to move because it's constrained in that direction. So it only has 1 degree of freedom.
Yeah,
and
so
you can only detect the motion along its degree of freedom. You see that? I moved in other axis and it could not detect it. So the pendulum has fundamental issues like that.
So from the top,
the point of Foucault's pendulum is that it's not. It would be like suspending that. Like just imagine you could just suspend that in your car where it would stay fixed in space, and then you turn your car around the pendulum. Right, the pendulum's not detecting that force or the movement of the car, but anybody observing it could say that the car is moving relative to the pendulum. That's what Foucault pendulum is.
2 degree of it would be 2 degree of freedom. That would be a spherical pendulum. Yeah, it's on a spherical pivot, so it can do that.
Back to my question I had earlier, which I don't know anything about this because it's math and physics based. Okay, if the globe Earth's rotating and then the pendulum is based off the rotation of the Earth, those are centrifugal forces outwards away from the center of the Earth, going in the direction of up. Okay. The flat Earth is stationary, but there is some kind of rotation going on. I won't get the of it, but one thing I will say is that rotation, what's affecting the pendulum from that flat Earth rotation is that rotation centrifugal like offset from its center point. But that centrifugal offset would be directed downwards towards the Earth, flat Earth. So
you're taking it too far with me. I'm keeping this whole thing on the ball. Just that way I can calculate and keep shit simple.
Well, same thing on a ball, right? Same thing on a stationary globe Earth and a rotating globe Earth. The pendulum behavior is going to be different, or it's going to be sourced from not the same thing. Again, rotating globe Earth, centrifugal out from the center of the globe Earth, rotating outwards.
Now, so you see what I posted, the stuff that I posted?
But you don't know if it would be the same or different, though, because... But you don't know if it would be the...
You died, Jeremy.
Yeah, basically, yes.
Yeah, so for the force or pseudo force from down up or from up down. These are 2 for sure. It has to be. It doesn't matter what model you have.
Yeah.
Flat
so
Earth.
Just all you have to do is do a free body diagram on it, right? Like the stuff I've been posting, and apply your forces. Whatever it applies to the pivot and the sphere and the string together as a system. So this is what I'm saying. You get a deflection from the pivot to the spheres, like with respect to ground, because the pivot is ground. It's the same shit. It's attached to the walls. The walls are attached to the ground. Unless the walls have a degree of freedom, all that system has 0 degrees of freedom. You're sealing. Now we have a pivot, a string. Let's make it a whatever rod, or so it doesn't move back and forth, because all strings will have this spring thingy, right? It will oscillate to the string back and forth, even if it's made out of steel. And the thinner you make it, the worse the problems of oscillation on the string itself. It changes distance. Okay. Cool. I posted all the equations for it and all that shit.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think in the case of the pendulum, though, it's really all about the pivot. I agree with that. In other words, if you were to set up a Foucault's pendulum and you fixed the pivot on the ceiling to only allow one degree, then it wouldn't precess, obviously. But you could still use a straight bar for the line from the pivot down to the pendulum. As long as the pivot could rotate, you'd still see precession.
I would like to see it. Yeah, that'd be dope. Maybe it's the oscillation of the string that's causing the whole system to rotate. I don't know. Use a rigid string.
Go ahead.
I was done, bro. Over. Go ahead, man.
I was just going to say what I think would be cool is people that take like equatorial mounts, and they, instead of following, making it look like the stars are turning, it looks like the ground is turning and the stars are staying still in the sky. I've seen a couple of them YouTube shorts, but it would be cool to use one of them to show the stars rotating or the ground rotating, either one you want to do, and also show the precession at the same time of the pendulum to show that it would precess at the same rate as the Earth is turning. You would be able to see it. The only problem is keeping that pendulum going back and forth long enough to get any type of footage that would show that. But that would be cool because it would show the precession matching the rotation of the stars and the Earth if you could put them together.
So then which one is moving, the stars or that? See, you just demonstrated that you could treat either one as the one that's happening, and then yeah, it both.
The other thought I had, Cyrus, is this would be fairly easy to test if you're saying that there's the torsion on the wire is what's causing it. Like, couldn't you just it seems like that would be easy to see, right?
I don't think it's a torsion. No. It's the length. That's one phenomenon that just happens. I'm not saying that this is what causes it. You can definitely like make it out of it's like a rigid mass versus a string. Because the thinner the string, the more oscillation in the string. The length of the string contracts back and forth as the weight swings up, because now you have gravity pulling in on an angle. So you got to do your X, Y, whatchamacallit, your forces.
Oh, you're talking about the other direction.
No, that's just, let's say we have a simple pendulum, right? Okay, string, it could only oscillate back and forth like in a clock, but it's hanging on a string. When it's vertically down, the string is elongated the most, okay? But as it swings upwards, all right, away from just straight down, as you develop a little bit of angle, now gravity, right, is still pulling straight down on the ball, yeah? But the relationship ball to the string, there's an angle. So you got to factor out your forces. So the force on the string varies throughout the swing. And as that varies, the length of the string shortens and lengthens, right? So you would have an oscillation in the string itself as your pendulum's oscillating back and forth. If you want to delete that degree of freedom, then you have to use like a connecting rod, which is massive. It has mass.
Yeah,
so
I don't think
know you're trying to avoid mass.
But there's no kinematic explanation for how that would lead to precession. I wouldn't think.
No idea. No, we have precession of spinning tops. All spinning tops precess. That's a different thing. So I think might be a complex fucking thing that's going on.
What about on the equator? Do tops precess on the equator?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, regardless, it has to do with the angle of the spinning top from straight down G. The minute it develops a slight angle, and with the speed of it, we can actually predict the precession. I got you. Simple equation too. I'll pull it up.
Syrus, what you're also missing is that the vector of gravity is changing over time on a globe. So if you would say you have the pendulum fixed on a ceiling and the gravity vector is always downwards, and then kind of which rotation also can be detected. You would, for example, in my helicopter example, the acceleration of gravity would always down to Earth, and independently of where the helicopter rotates, the downwards vector, the gravity vector, would stay same in relation to the rotation. But on Earth, if the Earth rotates, the gravity vector rotates with the Earth. So the anchor point and the gravity vector are locked and not on a movable target on Earth. So these are different situations.
Snooze, you said the gravity vector in one place isn't a constant. Is that correct? Did I hear that right?
I don't know what you mean with that, but the gravity vector on the Earth is always opposing in the opposite direction of the anchor point at the ceiling, so it's always going down.
Yeah, straight down.
If we would, for example, rotate in one direction on Earth, the gravity vector is rotating with that ceiling, so it's always opposing to the ceiling.
So it's always the same, straight down.
Are there any studies on the acceleration of the pendulum on its upswing and downswing? Because if the Earth's stationary, regardless of the model, and some field is it would be on the downswing. I think that's the root of figuring this out, right? Is the direction?
You could derive a meter. Yeah, I think you could derive a meter from that or something like that.
It's figuring out the direction of the force or pseudo force, whatever you want to call what's being caused by the spin or non-spin of the Earth. Earth spinning, the force is going towards the sky. Earth stationary, the force is coming downwards from the sky. It's not even from the Earth itself. It's from the field which you're within, rotating, and its centrifugalness going down towards the ground. So that's it. Thanks.
What about the conservation of momentum, dude? Like, if that thing is moving and the Earth is moving, I thought there was a thing called conservation of momentum. It shouldn't process whatsoever if it's a physical attribute. Just remember, it's hanging from the apparatus which is attached to the Earth.
Does anyone said anything about the purpose of the gimbal, the bearing, to isolate it?
Yep.
It's
Without
not
that, it
isolated, I'm
definitely
afraid,
won't
my
persist.
friends. It's not called. No. Yeah, okay, you have a link. Okay, we're gonna call the string link 1, L1, kinematically. You have a link that's swinging, right? You have a mass at the end of the link, whatever. It's all one link. Cool. Now that link is fixed with a pivot up top. That means it's Earth. Okay, and your pivot, you have a spherical pivot. Cool. It's got 2 degrees of freedom. Unless if you say 3, then you can pull it out of the pivot. No, it doesn't. In the equation, you'll see it's like n-1. It's always -1 for degrees of freedom kinematically. But anyways, it's got 2. You took it, like, say, from a simple bearing to a ball joint, right? Like your shoulder, a cup and socket, like a sphere and socket, or a cup and a sphere.
Do you think there's any physics professor on Earth that we can email that asks them whether the Foucault pendulum kinematically can detect the rotation of the Earth as proposed? Let's see if he agrees with your 1 degree of freedom limitation.
Go for it. Yeah, they probably explain to you how it does it. Look, I'll take their explanation over mine.
But your argument fails on a merry-go-round, right?
You're saying we're on a merry-go-round. I don't know.
No, but I'm saying we could test your claims, even just so we could think about them as a pendulum attached to a spinning merry-go-round.
Constant velocity.
That's attached to the Earth.
Constant velocity rotating merry-go-round.
The merry-go-round is attached to the Earth, dude. What are you trying to say?
Well, that is the Earth, the merry-go-round.
No, but you can't isolate it. It's attached to the Earth, which is in contention.
Exactly. So you should just think through this in your head, or like, it's probably too much work to test it. But set yourself on a merry-go-round with a pendulum and have somebody spin you, and that you're going to see the pendulum is going to precess. Right, but it doesn't mean that the pendulum is not swinging back and forth in a straight path.
Shouldn't the Earth counter that precession?
Well, then I'd say, well, wouldn't the merry-go-round counter the precession?
If the Earth didn't counter the precession, then guess what? You don't have precession of the Earth because you have another force acting on the merry-go-round. So if it did the same exact thing, you'd be like, well, this is obviously not right.
I don't know. I'm not sure what you're saying.
Yo, Jake.
All right.
If
So
you are going to email any professors, go ahead.
Just track out the pattern, right? Whatever the pendulum does, you draw your little lines, set up your little dominoes, whatever the fuck dumb shit you want to do, right?
Here, I've got a visual.
Okay,
keep going.
now,
I have a
you said you don't know
visualization.
what I'm talking
I'll post
about,
this in
but
chat.
you cut me off while I'm trying to explain it to you.
Sorry, I'll mute up. Go for it.
Yeah, and then you put it on a merry-go-round, right? And you say, okay, what happens on the merry-go-round? That path it should take, is it countering the path of the merry-go-round? Like the new path. Like, so it should be making, like, I don't know. It shouldn't be making like smooth like ox. It should be all fucked up. Because you have its preferred.
You're observing this. Where are you observing this from? You're outside the merry-go-round? Don't do that. Just hop inside and look at the pendulum, look at the ceiling, pivot, and just the pendulum swing. Because that's the reality we're in. If you can go to this stationary space in the universe and just watch everything, just no. Even in their model, we don't have that. So I'm going to take the reference frame of the ones I posted, just a simple free body diagram. I'm on there just looking at the pendulum swinging from the ceiling. I don't know what kind of arc it's doing outside with the whole thing. No idea.
I posted at 8 after the hour. You can see this is a physics simulation, basically, of just swinging. It's swinging pendulums going towards the edge of a merry-go-round, and then I have some that start swinging perpendicular, and this will show you the expected precession on the merry-go-round.
This wouldn't work. Isn't the for the globe? It's not analogous for the globe.
Correct. Yeah, this is not, because we see this is you have a static precession rate at all latitudes for this model. I'm using it just to show. Like if you're on a merry-go-round and you can see that the pendulum they're not actually turning. They're all swinging in the same plane. It's just the merry-go-round is what's turning.
Yeah, that shouldn't happen on a globe.
Well, I have one of these for a globe if you want to see it.
Can you change your camera? Can you run the same sim? Put the camera, rotate the camera at the same rate as the merry-go-round. Let's see now the precision.
I need to do that. It would take me a minute.
I don't know what kind of software. You just drop the observer on it. I don't know. You're just coding all this in.
Yeah, I'm just coding this. I'll it won't take long. I'm sure I can get that sorted out.
You ought to make one
Nice.
showing why equatorial mount won't work on a flat Earth.
Yeah, but when you got pendulums in San Diego taking 44.5 hours to make a full circle, while you have them on the equator just taking 24 hours to make that same full circle, then your globe model with a 90-degree zenith is way off.
Really, when it comes down to this, I don't really see the shape of the world matters, but it's really, I'm looking at it as the direction of lines of force or pseudo force, whatever you want to call it, intersecting with the fucking surface of the Earth. So that curve, given the latitude, will be influencing the pendulum. So for flat Earth, that would translate to the direction of the centrifugal divergence of the ether field intersecting with the fucking surface of the Earth.
What ether field, bro?
If the Earth's stationary in FE, there's going to be some kind of field, ether field. It's something. Just I'm not trying to be specific. It's just something else is rotating and giving us these measurements.
Like the air.
Yeah. Not the air itself. Like a deeper field. That's
why aren't all the Gulf Stream, all like the wind streams rotating in a specific way, direction all the time?
Yes, but what we're observing with wind is like there's other things going on. What I'm talking about is a field influence before these other things going on.
Yeah, I hear you, but I'm going to make the claim that people don't know where the wind comes from in the first place. So it could just be the wind itself.
The thing is if it's just the wind itself, that'll be that changes, right? Sometimes you'll have those Arctic jet streams, which is like a circle that they'll cut off and come down over America or something. But the gyros and the other rotation-based stuff doesn't match that. It matches this deeper underlying field or rotation, depending on which of these.
I really like that. We were talking about the other day about the ether being like some kind of, I don't know if you'd call it a magnetic field or what, but it's like at the smallest levels of what things are made out of. There would be like a field that's everywhere. That would be the ether. And things that we see as like electrons or photons and stuff, they're just like a hump or a standing wave that travels along this field. And that's why it acts as a particle and a wave, because it's just a standing wave. So it can bounce off of things like a particle, but it can also hit things and split, combine with other waves and do things just like a wave would. I really, really liked it. We had a good conversation here about that the other day. That's the closest thing to ether that I think I've heard yet, and I like that idea.